All right, looks like we got YouTube going. Hey, thanks for the support, Bradley. Yeah, happy Pride Month. Hopefully everybody's having a great beginning to their Pride Month. Um, Rebuttal to the Claus argument. I don't know what that is. You talking about Santa Claus? I don't know. But yeah. So if you believe in God and you're 18 plus and you want to and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God, please by all means come up and we can discuss it. An unclaused clause. All right, well, we'll see if we can begin our conversations this evening. Hi, Tristan, are you at least 18?
Hear me?
Are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
Yeah, I'm Christian.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Yeah, so I would say one, the Bible being just historically accurate. I would say two, just the historicalness of Jesus being a man and did exist and was alive during the time that the Bible does like predate on its scripture. And also just with Old Testament, the legitimacy of the Old Testament and the truth behind the people who lived there, the tribes that were there, and how we've gone back and digged in these places and have found remnants of these places and where they were located, which just gives more of a historical backing to the Bible, which I would argue is like, my logical like reasoning for God, believing in God.
Well, I don't think that makes any sense. That because none of the things that you've said support, none of the things you've said provide any reason to believe in a God.
Yeah, so they do though. So the
No,
Bible
but
being
that's what I was trying to
historically
explain. I let you talk, so I don't know
Oh
why
yeah,
you
go
feel
ahead.
like you have
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt
No,
me and
no,
can't
go
let
ahead.
me
I'm
talk.
sorry, man. My bad.
So yeah, none of the things that you've pointed to provide justification to believe in a God. If Jesus lived as a real person, that has nothing to do with whether or not he was a God. If the places mentioned in the Bible really are real places that existed, that has nothing to do with whether there's a God. If, other people that are mentioned in the Bible also existed, that has nothing to do with whether there's a God. Even if some of the miracle claims, which obviously we have no reason to believe in any of the miracle claims, but even if some of them were true, if they were accurate and those like events described as miracle claims actually happened, that also would not give us any reason to believe in a God. So there's literally no part of the things that you pointed to about the biblical accuracy that could possibly provide justification to believe in a God.
Yeah, so if I believe the Bible is accurate and it's historically accurate, that means how things played out through history and how things are done. Like obviously we know through a lot of things throughout history, we only know how history played out
Yeah, but
because of
this
manuscripts.
doesn't respond to what I said, Tristan.
Yeah,
I'm
to believe
granting
in
you.
God, if it's accurate,
No,
then it's
what
going
I'm
to be accurate
saying,
on a lot of other things than just historically with just places where they're at.
Tristan.
It's going to give a
Tristan,
go
what I'm
ahead.
trying to explain to you is that even
Mm-hmm.
if I was to grant that all of the historical claims in the Bible are accurate, that
But they
would not
are.
give us any reason to believe in a God. So now what you need to
Why
do,
would it? Why would it not? How would it not though?
I already explained that.
You
If
didn't though.
yeah, so okay, so do you understand the concept of bare theism?
No, it isn't.
Okay. So bare theism would just be theism without any extra commitments on top of it, right? So just that some God exists without saying anything about that God, what its properties are, anything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but how am I doing that?
No, you're not doing that. I'm just trying to make sure you understand the concept so that I can explain
Okay.
the critique in a more, complete way.
Okay. So bare theism. So I got it right. So bare theism is just where you believe in a God, you just don't know what God it is.
Well, right. I mean, sure. So, I mean, I'm not saying
Okay.
that like it necessarily somebody has to believe in it for this to be relevant. What I'm saying is that there are different types of theism. The most fundamental type being bare theism, just a God that qualifies as a theistic God exists. So, what I'm trying to get to here is that if any evidence that you're trying to present for your God isn't expected under bare theism and you have to add extra qualities to God in order for the evidence you're referring to become expected, then what the problem here is that you're trying to take up more room in the wrong probability space. So if we think about the total probability space of whether or not a God exists, that's there's from 0 to 100%. And let's imagine that we say that the no God possibility and the God possibility each take up 50% of that probability space. I don't think either of us actually think is 50% each, but just
Yeah, I don't.
right.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Yeah.
I think that the no God probability space is 99.9%, and you're going to think
Yeah.
that the God probability space is 99.9%, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's pretend for the sake of argument that it was 50% each, right?
Okay.
Um, what that means is that every possible not God worldview fits into the 50% of the overall bare not God worldview, right? And then every possible type of theistic worldview fits into the 50% of the God probability space, right? And so what you're doing, because you're giving evidence that even if it was evidence for God, would only be evidence for a specific God belief and not bare theism in general.
Yeah, which
That
would be true
what
because
I'm
I
trying to
also
explain,
believe in.
Tristan, hold on. What I'm saying
Okay.
is that what it cannot do, because it's only evidence for a specific God and not for God in general, it cannot raise the amount of the probability space that theism occupies against, non-theism. All it can do is raise the amount of probability space that Christianity takes up inside the theistic probability space. So what you need to do in order to convince me that a God exists is you need to bring the probability of theism simpliciter, bare theism, above 50%. But since I'm starting with my priors saying that I think the probability of theism at all is, less than 0.1%, that means that you have to give evidence that raises that probability from 0.1 to 50.1. What you're doing is you're saying Christianity should take up a bigger chunk of the 0.1% that theism occupies. That doesn't help me because it doesn't increase my credence in a God existing. So you have to provide evidence that bare theism expects so that I could come to believe in a God in the first place. And then once I believe in a God, then you can say, okay, the most likely God of all the gods that could exist is the Christian God. But we can't have that conversation until I already believe in God.
No, see, and I get that. I understand what you're saying now. You're saying because someone else who already is arguing, if you already believed in a religion, you're saying that if you already believed in a religion, that would be more of a backing.
No, if you already believed
Proving.
in a God, not a religion. If you
That's
already
what I'm
believed in
saying.
a
You
God.
okay? But like I'm saying, like if you were anything like Muslim or Jewish or just anything like not Jewish would back it up. If you were Muslim, I get what you mean. That would be the more of the argument. But I understand that. But I guess what my whole point is though is the fact that I would say that bare theism or what that is, it's just hard to apply because what it is the same way that like everything that we know, like science wise, when it comes to creation of the universe, when it comes to evolution, when it comes to all of these things that we kind of bump our heads on, you guys also have like their theories, right? They're not 100% proven. These are things that we have kind of like this is what the closest thing that we can rationalize right now to be the answer for this, and that we agree on that they're not proven, right? They're not 100%. These aren't factual statements yet. They are just what we theorize as the smartest people that they can figure out. It's what these situations are, right? So my thing is, right, is because you have a 0.1%, right? Because as an atheist, you can't say there is no God 100% because that would be a lie. Like you can believe that, but it's a belief, right? It's not a fact.
You're not
You
addressing
can't
anything
say,
I've said, Tristan.
yeah. So what I'm saying though, right, is that like I 100% believe there's a God, right? Without a doubt in my mind, there is no.
I don't care.
No
That's
God.
irrelevant to this
You
conversation,
have,
Tristan.
but you have a point. You have a point. Even though you have a 99% sure that you believe there is no God, you still have that 0.1% chance. Where I have that zero.
This still has nothing to do
anything.
with my objection.
But no, I would just like I said, it would. I can't argue with you on that one. I can't give you bare theology. They can't give you the bare minimum because, like
Sure.
I said,
So if what you're saying, if this whole ramble was just a long way of you saying, hold on, Tristan,
chance.
Jesus fuck, man. If this whole ramble that you just went on, this whole ramble roller coaster that you just went on was just a long way of you conceding the debate and saying that you can't, provide evidence for God.
I just don't.
If all you're trying to say is that you can't provide evidence for God, I agree with you. Are you able to provide any evidence or any argument that would rationally justify the position that a God does exist? Now you can unmute.
Bro, you're like a little baby Hitler,
okay,
dude.
Fair enough. So you don't have any argument or evidence. Time to move on. If you are in the guest box or thinking about joining, requesting up, feel free. Just make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God. So we will go on to Mario, it looks like. Hi, Mario. Are you at least 18?
How you doing? Hey, how's it going?
Are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 38.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
So basically, what you're asking for is
What God do you
evidence.
believe in?
Creation, the God of creation.
What God do you believe in? This is the last time I'm asking. I'm just going to drop you if you can't answer.
Okay, my God is creation.
Okay, have a good one. Like I said, if you can't tell me what God you believe in, then we obviously cannot have a conversation, right? There's just no way to do that. You have to actually tell me what God you believe in, because if you don't take a position, we can't have a debate, right? Thank you so much for the support. I kind of missed all the support. Holy shit, a bunch of people sending stuff already. Bradley Cooper, Bear, Chet, Poopman Jones, killing it as always. Thank you. Rat Soup, Nobody on Fire. Thank you, everybody, very much for your support. No, he didn't say bear theism. Who was that? Mario? Mario didn't say what God he believes in. Hi, Igtheist. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, currently don't have anybody requesting. So if you are 18 plus, believe in a God, and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, please feel free to request up, and we can have the conversation. I'm assuming that nobody's requesting because the theists know that they can't. Oh, somebody is requesting, so maybe not all the theists are cowards. We'll see. And Vedran, are you at least 18?
Nigga, 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 nigga,
Yeah,
nigga,
that's
nigga,
about
nigga.
the best that the Christians have. So yeah, if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, please feel free to request up. Hoping to actually have, legitimate conversations about whether or not there's a reason to believe in a God. Obviously, my position is that no such reason exists, but hey, maybe somebody can convince me, right? I'd be happy to change my position as soon as I'm given rational justification to do so. So yeah, if you are 18 plus, I have some kind of argument or evidence, feel free to request up. Like I said, currently don't have anybody requesting at the moment. I'm not I'm not going to debate with the chat. I'm not going to debate with the comments. If you have questions and you want to have the conversation, request up. If you're too scared to request up and actually defend your position, then obviously you don't want to talk to me. That's fine. You don't have to talk to me. Certainly nobody's obligated to. I guess while I'm waiting, I'll try to do a little bit of maybe maintenance here. See what's going on. I don't know if anybody is here from the Deconstruction Junction. I just got set up in there with a streamer profile, so hopefully folks are in there aware that I'm going live, and hopefully we can get some people in and have some good conversations. Oh, okay. Let's grab this and do one of those. But yeah, if you are 18 plus, believe in a God, and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in God, feel free to request up. I'd be happy to have the conversation, and I am willing to change my position. Thank you, Rat Soup and Debbie, for the support. I sincerely appreciate it. Looks like we've been getting some follows as well. That's awesome. Happy to have new followers, and hopefully we can get in the algorithm and get some more folks up here who actually want to have the conversations. Another follower, thank you. But yeah, not seeing any requests currently. The goal, like I said, is to actually have some good faith linear conversations. Not that I expect to change my position, but I certainly would if given justification to do so. Hi, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
That's an interesting question. The God of the universe?
Well, obviously, everyone who believes in a God believes in the God of the universe. That doesn't tell me anything. If you can't provide an unambiguous answer, then obviously you're not prepared to have this conversation. If you don't
The
take a position,
Judeo-Christian God.
if you don't take a position, we can't have a debate. So specifically, what God do you believe in? Are you Christian? Are you Jewish? Are you a Yahwist?
Christian.
Fantastic. I don't know why Christians are so embarrassed to admit that they're Christians. What would you
Well,
say is the best
can I
argument or
can I
evidence that would
explain
provide
why?
rational justification to believe in a God? Nothing?
you're you're no, you're very forward, my friend. I'm collecting myself. You're
I've
very
made it
forward.
very clear what the requirements are to come up here, and one of those requirements is having an argument or evidence that justifies believing in God. So you knew before requesting that that was the expectation. I'm not sure why you're surprised. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Existence itself.
How does existence itself provide justification to believe in a God?
Because the God that I believe in is existence.
Okay, well, I believe that things exist. Why should I believe that there's a God?
Why should you believe there's a God?
Mm-hmm. These are really
Because the
basic
belief,
questions, my friend. I don't know why you're acting like I'm like trying to get you to solve some like quantum physics equation or something. Like this is basic shit, my guy.
sure, but it's a deep philosophical question that pertains to
No, I mean, if you believe in a God, then and you're not an irrational person, then obviously you have reasons to believe in a God. So just
sure.
tell me what those reasons are. I mean, that's pretty simple. I can't imagine it being any more simple than that.
Fair enough. I believe that the belief in God produces an existence that is filled
I'm
with
not
abundance
concerned
of
with what
joy
you
and
think is
happiness.
pragmatically beneficial about believing in God. I'm only concerned with whether or not it's true that a God exists. What is the rational justification to believe that it is true that a God exists, not that it's useful to believe in a God?
Okay. Uh, okay. Let me think. I feel like I've provided an answer, but
Nope, you
you
haven't.
don't
All
like
you've
the
said is
answer.
that existence exists. I believe that things exist. You're saying that existence itself is the God you believe in. Well, again, I believe things exist, but I don't believe in a God. Clearly, unless you're an irrational person, you have some reason to think that existence is God. What are the reasons to think that existence is God? Or are you just an irrational person? I mean, I've been assuming so far that you're not, but I mean, maybe that's what's going on. I don't know what the nervous laughter is going to do for you. Just tell me the reasons to believe in God or admit that it's an irrational belief. Do I need to like start playing Jeopardy music or something?
The reason that I'm being quiet right now is just because I want to be careful with my words because the
Just
words that
tell
I
me the
choose
reasons,
matter.
man. If you can't tell me the reasons, then you have to admit that there aren't any.
A discussion between you and another person is a different discussion. I'm trying to find the words you that I want you to hear.
All
I
I
have
need, I
explanations.
don't need this like in flowery language. I don't need some like, PowerPoint presentation. I just need in plain language the reasons to believe in a God, or even just one reason, one philosophical argument, one piece of evidence, one thing that would give me a reason to believe that God does exist. If you can't
Okay.
answer that question, I'm just going to move on and assume that
Okay.
you are actually an atheist who's only doing this to make theists look bad, because I promise you, if that's your goal, you're doing a very good job.
Why are you so angry, my friend?
I'm not angry at all. I'm just explaining what's happening right now because you seem like you're completely lost, like a child wandering in the middle of a movie. So, what is the
You're
reason to believe in a God, or do you not have any?
okay. My first thing is define God.
Okay.
Your
Well, you
definition.
already defined God. We already have jumped over this hurdle. I don't know why you want to go backwards. Going backwards isn't going to save you. It's not going to magically make some reasons appear in your mind that don't already exist. So just tell me the reasons, or should I move on?
The existence that I've had from this point until birth until now has given me every piece of evidence for me to understand that there is a God, that there is something outside of my own identity, my own ego, that I can relate to existence in a way
I don't
that
really
produces
care
good
about
things.
any of these things. All you're saying is that you've had personal experiences, but guess what? People with different beliefs have had personal experiences that they think support their beliefs. So obviously, if personal experience can lead us to contradictory conclusions, then personal experience isn't a reliable pathway to truth. I'm only interested in reliable pathways to truth. So that excludes personal experience, it excludes faith, it excludes any of that other nonsense. So knowing that I'm only interested in things that are reasonable and logical, is there any reason why I should believe in a God? This is the last time I'm asking.
No.
All right, fantastic. I hope you have a good one. And you should think about the fact that when given an opportunity to give literally any reason that you had nothing, I think that you should genuinely spend some time thinking about that. I know, like, I don't know. Everybody thinks that I'm like raising my voice and I'm yelling or something. This is just the way that I talk. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's all it is. Good to see you too, Moon. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. We'll move on to the next guest. Hi, E, are you at least 18?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
I believe your fat ass needs to hit the gym.
Okay. So we'll move on to the, hopefully we get a serious guest. Shirt of the day, we've got, I can't, which way do I go? LV426 Xenomorph shirt. I got a lot of Xenomorph shirts. So we're wearing one of those today. All right, so it looks like we've got a few people in the guest box. That's awesome. Hopefully I can get to everybody. We'll move on to the person who's been waiting the longest. Hi, Mind, are you at least 18?
Yep, I'm 22.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
The Hindu gods, man. That's what I believe in right here.
Okay, and
I'll show you. Let me open this camera. This is exactly
no, you're
what
not
I
opening
believe
the camera. I'm just going to drop you at that point then. Hey, thanks for the support. God is good. Give me one quick second here. Oh, okay. Oh, it looks like a bunch of people sending support. Thank you. Dom, thank you. Alan, thank you very much. Tracy, Slice, I sincerely appreciate the support, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, I did get scared because you were turning your camera on, and last night when somebody came up with their camera on, they pulled their dick out, and I'm not doing that again. This is not a fucking, that's not what this live is about. Yeah, we're not doing that. If I know you, you know, then sure, fine. But I'm not taking a risk on some random that's gonna pull his dick out on stream. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, country boy. Do you have anything more than meta this time? I can't hear anything other than myself. Feedback. You need to fix your... Hello? Yeah, all I can hear is myself feedback. You got headphones or something?
You can't hear me?
Now I can. All right.
Okay.
Do you have something better than last time?
Yeah.
Do you have an actual argument this time?
Yeah. Well.
All right. What's the best argument or
you're on
evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
You're on a different frequency. That's all. There is a higher frequency. You're just on a lower frequency.
Okay, that has nothing to do with the question here. What's the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
You can't see it. Else I would show you, but you're on a
Okay,
different
I agree
frequency.
that none of us have any evidence for God. I agree with you. Thank you for letting everybody
didn't
know that
say
you
that.
also agree that there's no evidence for God.
I don't agree.
All right. Oh shit. Where'd it go? You can't access the evidence from your frequency. Wow. Just what a high level insightful comment we got from Country Boy, just like last time. When all he wanted to do was just cry about meta. All right. We'll see if we can have a conversation. Hi, Larry. Are you at least 18?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
The Christian one.
Cool. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Well, I was going to go with a frequency argument. That one was pretty strong, but
Mm-hmm,
I would
mm-hmm.
just make a biblical truth argument. So I would say things like the Bible states that homosexuality is a sin. And I see so many leftists and secular atheists trying to justify homosexuality, but it opens up a whole host of other degenerate acts that they have to basically
Okay,
justify.
well, I don't really care about your like social commentary. Do you have any reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, I'm giving it to you. So like,
No, this
from a
isn't a reason to
biblical
believe in a
perspective,
God. This is just like a difference that you see between your values and the values that you think apply to atheists. I don't really care about this. This has nothing to do with the conversation that we're supposed to be having here. What's the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
well, I'm trying to get there. I don't think atheists have any sort of right or wrong. Or
I
any
don't
sort
really
of
care
ethical
what you
beliefs.
think atheists do or don't have. That's irrelevant to the conversation. What's the best argument or evidence to believe in a God?
So you think it's okay to justify things like homosexuality, or
I'm asking you for an argument or evidence that justifies the belief in a God.
that's
Is
the
that a
argument. The
conversation that you're
argument is
prepared to
that
have, or do you only want to talk about?
that's the argument that God. That,
Okay, so
like,
you
if we
actually
look at
don't want to
biblical
have the
truths-
conversation about God, right?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
fantastic.
I'm
So
saying-
then, without talking about what you think atheists can and can't justify, what is the best justification to believe in a God?
So this isn't a comparison of
Okay,
paradigms?
fantastic. So you're not willing to have the conversation. Totally fine. Thanks for being an asshole up front so that I could move on without wasting more time on you. What a moron. I saw that idiot on somebody else's stream too, and thanks, Poopman Jones. I mean, I know it's Pride Month, but I don't know why everybody wants to just why that guy could only think about gay people. You want? Thanks for the support, Grandpa. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, Blackjack. Are you at least 18?
I am, yes.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
The universe.
I believe in the universe. What God do you believe in?
Just like a universal God. There's not a specific one.
Yeah, I believe in the universe, but I don't believe in God. Obviously, we have a difference, so just tell me the God you believe in. This is the last time I'm asking. If you can't answer this simple of a question, then clearly you're not prepared for this conversation.
Okay, let's just say the Christian God then, just for argument purposes.
Yeah, instead of being a coward and being ashamed of the fact that you're Christian, just admit it. Fantastic.
Oh,
So what
well,
would you
not,
say is the
but
best
yeah.
argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
A rational justification would be that it's probably better to believe and
No,
have
I don't
the
care.
chance.
This is what's called prudential
nature?
justification. I don't care about prudential justification. I'm asking for propositional justification. What's the propositional
you asked
justification to
you asked
believe in
for
a God?
rational justification. That's a rational reason.
No,
because if
it
you're
is not.
wrong-
No, I'm clarifying for you where you're misunderstanding. Can you do anything about the background noise?
I can't at the moment.
Okay. Well, it doesn't sound like you're actually prepared to have the conversation anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead.
I'll come back later, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't understand the difference between prudential and propositional justification, then I don't know what to tell you about. I don't know how to connect with you. Oh, I'm dying. Hold on. Oh, fun times. All right, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Hi, LSB, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said you're Muslim?
Yeah.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
So I would like to use like a simple argument, which is that I'll take a phone for example, right? A phone needs a creator, and so I think the universe needs one too. Like it's a very simple argument, but I
Why
think
would
like
you connect
it
the two?
demonstrates. Sorry. Why would I connect the two? Because I think it's just an example of phone, but anything needs like a creator.
Oh,
So
okay. So
like
what you're saying is that anything that exists must have had a creator?
yes.
Okay. Does God exist?
Yes, I
Okay.
think.
Well, I don't think then you want to say that everything that exists must have a creator, because then you would be committed to the position that God needs a creator. But if God needs a creator, but if God exists, God doesn't have a creator, so you've committed yourself to the position that God doesn't exist. So I'm going to recommend that you change your argument. If you're off the
Yeah,
app, I
yeah,
can't
but
hear you.
yeah, sorry. But like you said that contradicts yourself, right? Because then God would need a creator, right? But like God is the exception. That's the thing, because He created
You're right, but
everything.
that
No one
wasn't what you
created.
said. You said everything needs a creator. Everything that exists needs a creator. And you said God exists. So by your logic, by the principle that you've introduced to the conversation, the only reasonable conclusion is that God needs a creator. I don't think that you actually believe that God needs a creator, so you need to change your argument so that you're not committed to that entailment. Okay? So what would you?
Yeah.
So try again with a different claim that doesn't it doesn't entail the position that God doesn't exist.
Could I ask you a question or no?
Sure.
So could you explain like why you think there's no God and why you think like it's illogic?
Okay, so you're saying that you aren't able to provide any evidence, and you want me to provide an argument?
No, like I mean right now, no, I don't think I can. But I was just like, I just wanted to ask you like, why you think it's illogic that there's like a God? Why you think it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the problems is exactly what's happening in this conversation. You requested up here and heard me say over and over and over again that what you needed to do if you came up here is provide some argument or evidence that justifies believing in a God. And even with all the time that you've had, you said that you're an adult. Even through all of your life into your adulthood, you haven't found enough evidence or reasons to believe in a God to be able to present even one to someone who doesn't believe in a God. So I think that that's an indication. The fact that it's not just you, it's every single theist who comes up here, and every single theist I see talk to other atheists, and every single time that I see theists trying to justify their beliefs to each other, not a single time have I ever seen one of them actually provide a legitimate reason to believe in a God. So that's one issue. That's the negative case, right? And then the second issue is that there are positive arguments that lead me to believe that a God can't exist. For example, if God exists, then God would have created the universe. But if God created the universe, then God is outside of time. And if God is outside of time, God cannot change. If God can't change, he can't go from not creating the universe to creating the universe, which means that he literally doesn't have the capacity to create the universe. So again, if God exists, he doesn't have the capacity to create the universe, but he would have created the universe, and that just means that God doesn't exist because it entails a contradiction.
Sorry, I just didn't hear the part where you explained why he couldn't have created the universe.
Right. So if God exists, he created the universe, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if God created the universe, then God created time, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if time was created, then that means that a state of existence where change didn't exist changed into a state of existence where change did exist. But obviously, a state of existence without change can't change. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in order for God to have created the universe, a state of existence where change didn't exist would have had to change. We both agree that's a contradiction and not possible. So that means that God couldn't have created the universe. But we said that if God exists, then he did create the universe. So obviously God doesn't exist.
Yeah, that makes sense if the time was created by God, but it wasn't like the time, because the time is not. I believe time is not the same everywhere.
Okay, so what you're saying is that God didn't create time?
No, he did, but like we created, like there's multiple.
You're saying,
versions,
hold on.
maybe.
You're saying the problem with my argument is that it assumes God created time, and so that must mean that your position is God didn't create time, right?
No, it was just because I saw
Okay,
the
so if you
comments
agree that
from-
God created time, then my argument still works, and you need to find a different objection to my argument.
Oh, so you agree that God created time?
No, I'm saying if God exists, then God created time. But since God couldn't have created time, God can't exist.
Yeah, but didn't the humans create the time on like Earth?
No,
Like the
we did
time
not create time.
Yeah, but time could have multiple like maybe the time here is not at the same time in another galaxy or something.
Well,
So like
no, that's not how time works. Time is the same like kind of thing. It's the like progression of moments. That's just how time works across the universe as far as we can tell. We have no reason to think that time would be different anywhere else. Obviously, the time is different in terms of like from a reference frame, depending on how quickly you're moving relative to other things. Like that can change how time moves or how you experience time, but that doesn't mean that like time works differently in different galaxies. So I don't have any reason to think that what you're saying makes any sense or it has any validity to it. And again, even if time did work differently in different galaxies, time is still a feature of the universe. So if God created the universe, then God also created time.
Yeah, but for example, you said time like it can't change, right? But for example, in our dreams, like time is not the same as like when we wake up and like we're living, right? So like the time changes.
No. Nope. The reason that time feels different in dreams is because dreams aren't real and your brain is just making shit up. So it's different than reality where your brain doesn't get to make everything up. This is irrelevant. So do you have any like response to the argument that I gave? Do you need me to put it up on screen so you can figure out a response?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, give me 1 second. TikTok Studio's being stupid. I just want to click this button. Okay. So here's the argument that I gave. If God exists, God created the universe, you agreed to that. If God created the universe, God created time, you initially agreed to that, but then you tried to take it back. But then I said, if time was created, a state of existence without time changed to a state of existence with time. However, a state of existence without time can't change, so God doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think it will take me time to like find a response. So like you can just drop me and maybe later like I'll come back when I eventually have a response.
Okay, here's what I'm going to recommend to you. Don't come back tonight. Actually put some time into this. Think about it.
Okay.
I go live 5 nights a week around this time. So come back a different night and we can try to have the conversation a different time when you have a different argument.
Okay,
or better response. All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah, so I much prefer that over the assholes. I would much rather somebody leave a theist, but with the honest response, yeah, I need to think about this more, and I'll come back when I have a better response to your argument. Fantastic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, both sides. Like, I don't have to get upset. I don't have to mute anybody. I don't have to kick anybody. We can just have the conversation. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Before I bring up the next guest, I just want to shout out Lupine. I was just about to say thank you to everybody. You made my life harder. No, just kidding. Thank you very much for the support, Lupine. Angry Neeson, that's an awesome name. Jacob, Grandpa sending tons of support. Thank you so much for all of that, Grandpa. Grandpa Books. Lem supporting, thank you very much. Poopman Jones being awesome. Looks like Jennifer Johnson, thank you so much. Loeb supporting, I missed that completely, thank you. Dom sending some support, thank you for that as well. And yeah, I just sincerely appreciate everybody's support, thank you. Okay, so it looks like we have Nate Savage, then Stray, and then we'll hopefully get to everybody else after that as well. Hi Nate, are you at least 18?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
You can say Christian.
Okay, cool. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Well, I would think that you wake up this morning. You're walking and breathing every day. That's my proof of God of existence.
Why would that give me a reason to believe in a God?
Because that's what he allows you to do.
Yeah, I mean, if I believed God existed, then I might think that God was connected to those things. Since I don't believe God exists, then I don't see any reason to believe that God is connected to those things. Why should I think that God is connected to those things?
Well, the way you're saying it in your argument is more of like how you think, you know? Like,
right. What I'm saying is that because I don't already believe in a God, you can't just say, oh, God is connected to these things. and expect me to believe it. Like if I told you that you shouldn't believe in a God, and the reason not to believe in a God is because you woke up this morning and you're alive and you breathe air, and all of those things can only be true if no God exists, that wouldn't convince you to stop believing in God, would it?
No.
Yeah, I agree, because that would be a really, really stupid argument for me to give. The problem is that it's also a stupid argument when you give it, right? Because it doesn't actually give me a reason to change my position. So I'm asking, is there any reason that I should change my position and begin believing in a God?
So you're saying the only way for you to believe in God is you need something that you can actually view?
No, I didn't say anything like that.
So what are you trying to say? How can I convince you that God believes? You got to convince yourself. God is about faith and free will. So nobody else can convince you that God exists unless you got to do that.
I mean, hey, if you don't think that you can convince me that God exists, I agree with you. So I will just take that as a concession, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
No,
yeah, obviously the point here is to have the conversation about whether a God exists. If your whole position is that you can't give me a reason to believe in a God, then I have no idea why we would continue the conversation. So yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Potato, being desperate in the comments is not only not going to get you brought up out of order, it's probably going to make me bring up people after you before you, because the desperate people in the comments are not the people who actually have good conversations. So just calm your shit, and I'll get to you when I get to you. All right. Hi, Stray, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 28.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
I'm a Christian.
Okay.
Wait.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
What is suitable evidence that is worth considering a discussion?
Literally anything that would raise the probability that a God exists.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Dom.
Do you think you want physical?
Nope.
You don't require physical?
I didn't say anything like that. I specifically answered your question, and I was very intentional about how I answered the question.
I'm just making sure, because I guess I'm going to have to filter the questions, I guess, through the denial phase, of the conversation. But anyway, I think God's in life itself.
Okay, I don't know what that means. Why should I believe in a God?
There's meaning in your existence.
I mean, that certainly is a claim.
Yeah.
Just making claims without supporting them doesn't give me a reason to believe in the claim, and it certainly doesn't give me a reason to believe in a God.
You don't believe that there's meaning in existence?
No. Why would I believe that?
Well, why wouldn't you?
Wow. What a compelling argument. You should be an atheist. Why wouldn't you be an atheist? Did that make you an atheist?
I've considered it.
Did that make you an atheist? Did my argument work?
I listened to
Well, I said you should be an atheist. Why wouldn't you be an atheist? According to you, that's a really, really good argument. So are you an atheist now? Or was that not that good of an argument?
Nah.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't a very good argument. It wasn't a good argument when I gave it, and it wasn't a good argument when you gave it either. So let's try.
I don't think it was necessarily a bad argument.
It's a terrible argument. The whole point here, Stray, is to give an argument that would be compelling, that would give me a reason to change my position and begin believing that a God does exist. Or I should say, go back to believing that a God does exist. Obviously, just saying, well, why wouldn't you believe, doesn't actually give me a reason to believe in a God. So I'm going to ask one last time, is there any reason why I should believe in a God?
Well, Jesus really did exist.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a claim. I don't think that you can support that claim, and I also don't think that you could draw a connection between Jesus existing and God existing.
But most people accept that Jesus exists.
I don't care what most people accept.
Well then, that sounds like I'm at a disadvantage. I don't
The
know.
only disadvantage that you have is that you're supporting an irrational position. If you
I don't
weren't,
think
if you
it's
didn't believe in a God, like,
I
yes,
don't think
you
I
are at a
believe in
disadvantage,
God
but
is
it's because you believe in something that you can't support. If you didn't hold a position that was irrational, then you wouldn't. This isn't a disadvantage you've taken upon yourself. But
No.
that's your fault, right? It's like
To say that belief is irrational, that's insane.
a
That's
belief in a
irrational.
God is irrational. Yes, belief in a God is
No, it's
absolutely
not.
irrational.
No, it isn't. It's
Okay,
not
then what's a
irrational at
reason
all.
to believe in a God? If it's rational, then that means that there are reasons. What are the reasons to believe in a God?
Many people have different reasons.
I don't care.
You know what I'm
Saying many
saying?
people have
I
different
can't- I
reasons
can't-
doesn't give me a reason, doesn't tell me what the reasons are. Can you
But you're
name?
not- 'cause you're not
I
looking- you're
already
not
told you
looking
that there was
for
the last time. This is genuinely the last time I'm asking you. And if you respond with anything other than a reason to believe in God, I'm just going to take it as a concession that you know that I've won and atheism is true. So what is one reason that I should believe in a God?
You didn't let me finish what I was saying.
Fantastic. Thank you for conceding and agreeing that no gods
I didn't
exist.
concede any.
Yeah, you did. I told you that if you responded with anything other than a reason to believe in a God, it was a concession. You, knowing that that was the term, chose to respond without a reason to believe in a God. That's a concession. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next person. If you're in the guest queue, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you actually have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. Just need to go one of those. And all right. Hi, Jesse. Are you at least 18?
I am.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
I guess we would say the Christian God.
Cool. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
So I've heard a lot that has been coming through this tonight.
I don't really care about the meta or talking about other people. All I want you to do is just provide some argument or evidence that would give me rational justification to believe in a God. I don't need anything else.
Then why does anything exist rather than nothing?
Well, that's a question. Are you driving?
I am.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunately against TikTok terms of service, and I don't need my live restricted. So if you are not driving at some point and you want to chat, feel free to come back. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second before I move on to the next person. Go into these. Oh, interesting. Okay. Hi. Are you at least 18?
Hello. Yes, I am.
Okay. What God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Have we spoken before?
I don't remember talking to you.
I feel like I recognize your name. Is it Edon?
Yeah.
Okay. Must have been a long time ago if we did talk, though, because I don't have it in my notes, and I started taking notes, like 2 months ago? So it must have been prior to that. Anyway, what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Well, I believe like in Jesus' miracles and the prophecies.
Okay.
So
Do you think that
basically,
those things?
everything around Jesus.
Do you think that those things would be expected if just like a generic God existed instead of the Christian God?
Well, I would think if a God wanted to prove himself that he's God, that's how he would do it.
Right. What I'm saying though is that if there was a God that wasn't the Christian God and was just like a very generic God that was, like and just some immaterial mind that created the universe and had no other additional properties, under that type of God, we wouldn't expect any of the miracles, right?
If he didn't care to get to know us.
Right, correct. If that was the
Yeah.
case, if it was that kind of God, we wouldn't expect any of the miracles or any of the Jesus stuff, right?
Yeah, like they say Jesus is.
I just
how we
needed the
know God
direct
actually
answer to
loves
the
us.
question. It sounded like the answer was yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic. So here's the issue, how much do you know about probability?
I understand probability.
Okay, so if we divide up the probability space between not God and God, that obviously takes up 100% of the does God exist probability space. And if we want to raise the probability that, yes, God is the right answer, we need to give evidence that is expected by the bare theistic hypothesis. Unfortunately, you're giving evidence that's expected by a very specific theistic hypothesis, which only raises the probability space within the God probability that Christianity takes up, right? So like if we say that no God is 50% likely and yes God is 50% likely, giving evidence for Christianity that isn't expected by bare theism is only going to raise the amount of the yes God 50% that Christianity takes up. That doesn't raise the probability that God exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so in order for you to convince me that a God exists, you need to provide evidence that raises the probability that any God exists. And then once you've convinced me that there is a God, then we can talk about which God it would be likely to be.
Well, there's no way that there could be no God, because you need to have a creator for anything to exist.
I mean, that's a claim. Do you want to support that claim?
I mean, there's no way you could have. There's no way to have something come from nothing.
Nobody said anything about something coming from nothing until you just brought it up. So that's completely irrelevant to this conversation. Why should I think that there needs to be a creator?
For the creation, like the
yeah, well, if we assume that everything is a creation, then yeah, there would have to be a creator. Why should I think that the universe was created?
What else could you think?
That's just an argument from incredulity. Why should I think that the universe was created?
There's just no other option.
Yeah, I mean, that's you just admitting that you don't have any evidence or arguments.
There literally is no other option. That's the only way.
No, it's not. And you saying that, again, isn't an argument or evidence. So I'll ask you one more time. And I want you to pay very close attention to the rules for answering this question. If I ask this question and you answer with anything other than some kind of argument or evidence for God's existence, it counts as a concession, okay? So, what is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe that the universe was created by a God?
The best argument Jesus said it says in John 1, in the beginning was the Word.
That's fine. I mean, again, that's just more claims. That's not an argument and that's not evidence. So I appreciate that you did at least try. So I won't count that as a concession, even though it technically qualifies based on the rules that I gave you. But what I'm asking you for is something, because again, notice how you went back to the Bible. What I'm telling you is that every time you go to the Bible, every time you go to Jesus, every time you go to a miracle that's expected only under Christianity, that misses the whole point of this conversation. I cannot believe that the Christian God exists if I don't believe any God exists. So you have to provide an argument or evidence that would conclude that would help me conclude that a God does exist in the first place. Then we can talk about whether it's the Christian God. So do you have any kind of argument or evidence like that?
Well, if it's Jesus, then that would.
Right, but I can't. There's no reason for me to believe that Jesus was God unless I believe that there's a God. Is there any reason for me to begin believing in a God in the first place?
Why can't you believe Jesus is God?
Because I don't think that there's a God. Obviously, if there is no God, then Jesus can't be God.
But given all the things he did, how come that doesn't prove to you that he is God?
Because there are absolutely alternate explanations for everything that happened. The easiest explanation is that none of it actually happened, which is my position. I don't think there's any reason to think any of the stuff talked about in the Gospels actually happened. Like there's no evidence whatsoever that any of that stuff happened. There's only evidence that people believe in it. And people believing in a thing doesn't make the thing true. So this genuinely is the last time that I'm asking. I'm not going to lay the rule down like I did before, because it seems like you are actually trying to be good faith. It just sounds like you just don't actually understand how evidence works. But I'll ask one last time, and if you don't have anything, I'm just going to move on. Is there any argument or evidence that would raise the probability that a God simpliciter exists?
Well, if you just say basic theism, you could say atheism is false. So there has to be
saying atheism is false is just making the claim God exists. We're already talking about that claim. Making that claim again doesn't give me a reason to believe that the claim is justified. Is there any justification for the claim that atheism is false?
There's no evidence for atheism. There's no reasoning for it.
Yeah, that again is just another claim. I'm done, Idan. I understand that you are actually trying here, but what I need you to think about is the difference. What I need you to, Idan, what I need you to think about.
Is there any reason?
You need to stop. What I need you to think about is the difference between making a claim and providing support for that claim. And I want you to genuinely think about that distinction. And after you've had some time to think about that distinction, I would like for you to come back and we can try to have a conversation again where you understand the difference between making a claim and supporting that claim, okay? I appreciate your time, and I hope that you have a good one. Just not going anywhere. Okay. Yeah. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus. Oh, son of a bitch. Got more drums from Philo Dragon. Thank you so much, dude. That's fucking awesome. That's awesome as fuck. Thank you. Just absolutely crushing the goal. Yes, I had to give up, Idon. I was getting sick of going around and around with you and you not understanding what evidence is. I mean, at this point, I just... Whoa! Thanks, Dom. Fair enough. Well, we crushed it. Thank you guys so much for the support. Obviously, if you guys want to continue supporting, great. If not, I mean, obviously nobody's required to. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and that you are on, you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. We'll move on to Dom next. Hi, Dom, are you at least 18?
Yes, I've spoken to you before.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. What God do you believe in?
The Christian God, but in the case of the argument, I'd like to just defend theism overall.
I think that's the smart way to go. What argument or evidence do you want to discuss?
I would say with the evidence we have from modern cosmology showing the creation of the universe via microwave radiation showing expansion, it's illogical to believe in infinite recession rather than believing in the start of time and matter.
What would make me think that time started?
Because we have evidence of...
Yeah, no, just saying that we have evidence doesn't give me a reason to believe it. What you should be doing is responding with the evidence, not just saying
expansion of radiation, cosmic radiation expanding.
No, what you're trying to refer to, I think, is the cosmic microwave background radiation. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. And
yes.
Yeah, that does tell us about when the universe began expanding, but I'm asking about why should I think that the universe began existing at some point? Those are two different questions. I don't care about the universe beginning to expand. I care about the universe beginning to exist.
Well, if it was beginning to expand, it had to expand from a point. And that
no,
point
not from a point. Nope. So, are you familiar with what a balloon is?
Yeah, I've heard you give this argument of if you inflate the balloon, it existed previous to inflation.
Correct. So the beginning of the expansion has nothing to do with the beginning of the thing's existence. So what I'm asking about is why we should think the universe began existing. Do you have any argument or any evidence why I should think that it began existing?
I don't.
Okay, I agree. And I would say that if the universe didn't begin to exist, then it wasn't created, right?
Of course.
Okay, so if we don't have evidence that the universe began to exist, that means that we don't have evidence that the universe was created, right?
Yes.
And if we don't have evidence that the universe was created, that means that we don't have evidence that there's a creator, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. And if we don't have evidence that there's a creator, we probably shouldn't believe in a creator, should we?
No.
I agree. So I think that the reasonable position is to not believe that there's a creator until such time as we have justification for that position.
But also, another reason that I would give is just off-base logic, that the only evidence we have, we can't prove infinite recession theory, that it just will expand. And
well, I think what you're trying to say is infinite regress.
Infinite regress, where it collapses and then back into a hot done state.
Yeah, we have lots of evidence. We not only do we have evidence that, Big Bounce Big Crunch is a viable model, that's not the only possible model for an eternal universe. And again, we have no reason to think that the universe couldn't be eternal. In fact, we have good reasons to think that the universe could be eternal. And all of the arguments against the eternality of the universe fail. Like if you watch, and in fact, I think that all of our best inductive evidence that people usually try to use to prove God exists, I think would actually give us reason to think that the universe is eternal. Have I given you the Alex Malpass anti-Kalam argument before?
I don't think you have.
Okay. I'm just going to throw the whole thing on the screen, but we can go through the premises. So this first premise is an inductive premise. We can only reach this premise or this conclusion through induction. So I understand that this is not, this is not 100% proof, right? So Please know that I'm not putting this up here as 100% proof that there's no beginning. But what I'm going to say is that a lot of people who argue for God, the reason I call this as the anti-Kalam is that I came across this from Alex Malpass as a response to the Kalam. The first premise of the Kalam is everything that begins to exist has a cause, right?
Yes.
And that's because every time we experience something beginning to exist, it has a cause, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's equally true. So we have equal support for the premise everything that begins to exist is made from something that already exists in the universe, right? We have the same support for that as we have for the first premise of the Kalam, right?
Yes, but that would reference that something will always infinitely exist. And I think
that's not included in this premise. I'm just saying that in this premise, I'm saying that in this premise alone, we have the exact same support for this premise as we have for the first premise of the Kalam, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So we have just as much reason to think that this is a good beginning for an argument as we have to think that everything that begins to exist as a cause is a good beginning for an argument. In fact, I would say that this is a better beginning to an argument because it actually includes more of the data and is a more complete explanation of what we know about things beginning to exist. Anyway, so if we agree that that all of the evidence that we have tells us that everything that begins to exist is made from something else that already exists, and we try to think about a thing X that began to exist, we would realize that, okay, so that thing X that began to exist must have been made from something that already exists. We've already concluded that. And so either it was made from stuff that also began to exist, or it was made from stuff that never began to exist. If it was made from stuff that never began, from beginningless stuff, then that means the universe must be beginningless, because the universe would have had to always exist in order for that beginningless thing to always exist in it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if X was instead made from stuff that began to exist, then that stuff was itself made from either beginningless stuff or stuff with a beginning, right? So if we say X was made out of Y and Y began, Y then, if it began, must have been made out of Z, and then we can say either Z began or didn't begin. If it didn't begin, the universe is infinite. If it did begin, then it must have been made out of A, and then the same question about A, and what you'll find is that this becomes an infinite regress here, where we say that either there's a beginningless thing, or there's a beginningless chain of things beginning to exist. Either of those options leads us to the conclusion that the universe must have always existed. Now again, I'm not presenting this as 100% deductive proof that the universe always existed, but I'm saying that we have better reason to believe that the universe always existed than we have to believe that the universe had a cause.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not trying to change your opinion, but in my mind, it makes more sense because everything I've experienced in my life has a reason to exist, a cause. So right. I don't know why the universe would be any different.
No, but you don't have any. So here's the problem. What you're saying is that I think that I can apply the things I've learned about things inside the universe to the universe itself, but that's just the composition fallacy. Just because
it's like a special plea to say that the universe would be the only infinite thing.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that you're committing a fallacy by assuming that some property of parts of the universe must apply to the universe itself. I agree that we experience things coming into existence, and having a creator when they do, or having some cause when they do. But the problem is, every time we have ever experienced something coming into existence, it was an example of something being made from stuff that already existed. If the universe came into existence, that's not an example of something being made out of other stuff that already existed. So we cannot apply our experience and our intuition about things that we're used to and how the type of beginning to exist that we're used to, we can't apply that to the universe, because if the universe began, it wouldn't have been that type of beginning. So we can't apply the information from the one type of beginning to the other.
I guess I can grasp what you're saying, I think.
Okay. So what I'm saying here is it's the same thing as saying like what's a good example? Like comparing a painting to a rock, right? If we say like a painting, we know how paintings are created. And yeah, not only it is true that both paintings and rocks have causes for their existence. That's true. But they're much different types of causes, right? A painting has a lot of intention behind it. You have to go to the store, you have to buy supplies, you have to intentionally combine the supplies in very particular ways in order to come out with a painting at the end. Whereas with a rock, it's geological processes that produce the rock. There's no, as far as I know, there's no intention involved. It's a completely different kind of thing. If we just said, well, I'm really used to paintings coming into existence, and every time I've seen a painting come into existence or be caused into existence, it involved a trip to the store, it involved paints, it involved brushes, it involved a canvas, it involved an easel. All of these things are involved every time a painting comes into existence. Therefore, every time a rock comes into existence, it must involve a trip to the store, buying paint, buying brushes, buying a canvas, buying an easel, and then a person putting all those things together. But that would be a ridiculous conclusion, because the cause of a rock is very different from the cause of a painting. Similarly, the cause of everything that we're familiar with beginning to exist is something being made out of stuff that already existed. But again, if the universe began, it wouldn't be that kind of cause. It wouldn't be that kind of beginning. So we can't compare the two.
Why would you assume that it would not be?
Because then what you would have to say is that the universe existed prior to the universe, and that the universe was made out of the universe.
Okay.
And to say that the universe existed before the universe existed so that the universe could be made out of itself, that just doesn't work.
I wouldn't say the universe existed before the universe existed. I would say something that existed outside of time and matter, and space-time as we're used to it now.
Okay, so what that we can demonstrate exists has the power to make a universe, and what did it make it out of?
We don't have anything, but we also don't have anything that can be infinite that we have.
We have lots of things that are infinite, like numbers, for example. There's lots of things that are infinite that we're aware of. I see no reason why. And also, like, if you believe in a God, you believe that God knows everything, right? God is all-knowing?
Not necessarily.
So you
I wouldn't say all-knowing.
So okay, so you said you're Christian, right?
Yes, in practice, but I found myself leaning more towards just a creation, a creator, as bare theism.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're a Christian, then the Christian position is that God knows all things.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily right.
Okay, well, regardless, what I'm saying is, even if we said that, like, the past isn't infinite, there still isn't a reason to believe in a God, because again, we don't have any experience with universes coming into existence. So I don't think that we have the ability to conclude what would be involved if a universe did come into existence. We can say that about rocks, we can say it about paintings, we can say it about planets even, and stars, because we have evidence for how those things begin to exist. We have no evidence for how universes could begin to exist.
Yeah, but that's like drawing the comparison between painting and rock.
No, we're just talking about what we were talking about before, Dom. If you don't have evidence to suggest that a thing exists, then that means that you don't have a reason to believe in that thing. And if you don't have a reason to believe in that thing, you shouldn't believe in that thing. And you're agreeing that there is no evidence to believe that the universe was created, so there's no reason to believe in a creator.
But the only theories that we have from modern science...
It doesn't matter what theories we have, Dom. It doesn't matter what theories we have. What you're trying to do now is like this argument from incredulity. You're saying, well, I don't know what the answer is, therefore I get to make up an answer. No.
Not make up, but theorize.
Yes. No, not theorize. You know what a theory is? You know what a very important feature of a theory is?
You base it off evidence.
There's tons and tons of evidence supporting it. You don't have even one piece of evidence supporting your hypothesis, so you don't get to call it a theory. You just have guesses. And then you're saying that because I don't like any of the other proposed answers, I'm just going to go with my guess. That's irrational.
No, I'm saying atheism could also as well very much be true.
I don't care about that, Dom. The only reason we should believe X is if there is evidence suggesting that X is likely to be true. Now, if what we're talking about believing is that some creator of the universe exists, then the only way that we could be rational to believe in a creator of the universe is if we have some evidence that suggests that the universe was created and has a creator.
The only physical evidence we do have in cosmology shows the creation of our universe.
No, we don't have anything showing the creation of our universe. We have evidence that shows the beginning of the expansion of our universe. We have that, but we have nothing that suggests that there was a creation.
Wouldn't the beginning of expansion more likely to be fitting to the creation of the universe than to be as always existing? Why not?
Because there's no evidence to suggest that's the case.
There's also no guaranteed evidence that no creation does exist. There's no guarantee for
That's
either
fine.
side. It's like
That's
what's more
fine,
likely.
Dom. If you're saying there's no evidence for X, therefore I get to believe Y, that's an irrational position. And that's what you're saying right now.
Y may be true.
Yeah, you're saying that you're saying I think there's insufficient evidence for X, and we haven't 100% ruled out Y, therefore Y is true. I guarantee you wouldn't do that with anything else in your life, Tom. That's an irrational way to do it.
Likely to be true.
What?
I'm saying it's more likely in my mind as an
Okay, how did you determine that likelihood? What is the evidence that allowed you to determine that likelihood?
What I just gave you, but we
You didn't
interpreted
give-
the evidence differently.
Dom, you didn't give any evidence. Give some evidence or admit that there isn't any. Stop pretending there's evidence if you don't have
Expansion
any.
of the universe.
Don't talk over me. I can't hear you.
Sorry. We were both referencing expansion of the universe as a real fact.
We have evidence of the expansion.
Yes, and I would, in my mind...
Not in your mind. No, Dom. Not in your mind. Objectively, what is the evidence that there was a creation?
I think expansion more likely points to a creation.
How does it do that? How did you determine that? Give the evidence that suggests that expansion also implies beginning of existence.
I don't know.
If you don't have evidence, but you believe it anyway, that's called being irrational. Are you being irrational?
I guess.
Okay. Well, my best advice to you is stop doing that. I appreciate the conversation, but I just lost all patience for that back and forth circular bullshit. So frustrating. Expansion implies creation, and no, it doesn't. So fucking frustrating. Okay, so currently don't have anybody requesting. So if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, please feel free to come up. Let me see. Okay. Hi, are you at least 18?
Yes, I am.
Cool. What God do you believe in?
So, the God I believe in. All right, I'll tell you. I'd like to share with you.
No, you're not doing any of this nonsense. You're either telling me the God you believe in, or I'm moving on.
It's a non-traditionally defined God.
I don't care. That doesn't answer my question.
Perhaps I don't understand the question.
Okay. Do you know what the word "what" means?
Well, if you say what God you believe in, and I can't answer the Christian God or etc., I'm not sure, and it's a God that I'm not sure then where my answer fits in what feels like is a paradigm in your question.
I'm not asking you, like, if the God you believe in doesn't have a name, then obviously you wouldn't be giving me a name. You would just, like, give a list of its properties or something. Just tell me the God that you believe in.
Oh, okay. I can tell its properties for sure. Eternal, inexplicable, and formless. Inexplicable in that it cannot be explained how it is or why it is.
So if you can't explain what it is or how it is or why it is, then how could you possibly have enough, like, understanding of it to believe in it? It sounds like you're saying that I believe in something, but I don't know what I believe in.
Yeah, that's
okay. Well, that's really exceedingly stupid.
Well, maybe.
No, not maybe. Definitely, with 100% confidence. Hey, look at me with a crown. With 100% confidence, I can tell you that it is exceedingly stupid to say I believe in X, but I don't know what X is. I can't. There are few things that I can imagine that are more stupid than that.
Listen, before we understood the wind, we could believe in the wind without knowing what the wind was.
You may not have been able to say, like, like an exact description, but you would be able to describe the thing that you believe in. Like, people believing in the wind would still be able to, like, explain the phenomena that they're, using the word wind to describe. So if you can't explain the thing that you're pointing to when you use the word God, then you have no reason to believe in it. Can you explain the thing that you're pointing to when you use the word God?
I can explain the phenomena, yes. You said you can explain the phenomena of the wind. Applying that analogy, yes, I can explain the phenomena of the God I believe in.
Not the phenomena. What is the thing that you believe in?
Okay, let's call it a creator.
Okay, I'm genuinely done with this. I'm going to ask you one more time, and then I'm going to move on if you don't just fucking answer.
Look,
what God do you believe in?
Listen, everything logically distills.
All right, fantastic. So you can't answer what God you believe in. Obviously, you're not prepared to have this conversation. Personal question. Rachel, you said grown Christian. M-Dog, my dad is a stronger Christian, or more like fervent Christian now than he was when I was growing up, and my mom is no longer Christian, to answer your question. And apparently, I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but my mom has said that conversations that she and I had back when I was deconstructing caused her to deconstruct without me really even being involved with it, beyond just like the initial conversations that we had, which is cool. My parents? No, my parents are not married. I mean, my dad is married, but not to my mom. Thanks for the support, Jennifer, and Dom, and Poopman Jones, and Philo Dragon, and yeah, Andrea. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for the support. God is good. I'll bring you up, but I'm going to be very, very quick to kick you if you can't just focus and have the conversation. What is the best argument or evidence to provide rational justification to believe in a God?
The mystery that exists within infinity.
I don't know what that means. You need to actually provide some argument or evidence. If you can't do it, I'm just going to drop you again.
Okay. There is infinity in the world. We have no capacity to understand what
infinity.
it is.
What do you mean there's infinity in the world? What are you pointing to?
Do you believe in infinity?
What are you pointing to when you say there's infinity in the world?
Existence itself, the infinite multiverse, I guess.
Why should I believe there's an infinite multiverse?
Black hole and white hole. Infinite tapestry that is connected between a singularity between black holes and white holes.
Okay, so you don't have any evidence? You could just admit, you could just be honest and admit that you don't have any evidence, instead of just like saying buzzwords that you think help you, because they don't. They just make you look dumb. So do you actually have any evidence, or do you just want to say buzzwords?
We have to we have to define what God is first before I can speak into that argument.
Okay, so
because experience,
we already defined God. We already talked about that. That's past. That's over with. If you want to rehash all that, you can go talk to somebody else. Do you have any evidence or any argument? This is your last opportunity.
Replace the word beginningless in your example with God, and there you go.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm just going to take that to mean that you don't have any argument or evidence. And I'll just go ahead and move on. Unbelievable. Yeah, Poopman Jones is the bomb, and so is Philo Dragon. And honestly, like everybody that is supporting, I sincerely appreciate it. Damn. You guys are fucking going crazy over there. 37,000 likes. Holy shit. Thank you. Yeah, Michelle. I hope we get a good conversation soon as well. That would be fantastic. I would love that. We'll see. Give me 1 second. I'll bring up the next person. And, what the fuck? Oh, well, hey, thanks for the support. God is good. give me one second. Oh, now I forgot what I was doing. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Jim. Are you at least 18?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
What God? I was baptized in a Baptist.
I don't care about your history. I don't care about your personal history. I'm just asking what God you currently believe in.
None.
Oh, okay. Have a good one. Oh, fuck. Wow. I mean, I'm surprised to be getting support from somebody I kicked twice tonight, but hey, I'll take it. Thank you. Yeah, currently, the only person requesting is somebody that wasn't able to have the conversation earlier, so I don't know of a reason to bring them up. So just waiting for somebody who actually wants to have the conversation. Jim, you're also an atheist. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay. People are fucking weird. Namely that Jim Dandy guy. Okay. So, yeah, Stray, the problem is, again, you weren't able to provide an argument. All right, give me 1 second here. Okay. I think that we actually have the opportunity for a good conversation here. I'm very optimistic now. Hi, Oso. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing just fine. I hope that you are here to be my stream savior and provide actually an interesting, substantive conversation.
I wish. Well, I'm still on there. I came by 2 days ago and asked you where your stance was, and you told me evidence-wise. I did a bit more research. I was wondering, the crucifixion, that's not enough, right? Obviously, but like, along with, or you go.
Well, I assume when you say crucifixion, what you really are referring to is the resurrection, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And my issue with the resurrection is that I don't know of any reason why we would think that the resurrection actually happened. There is no contemporary account of it happening. Like, nobody that was alive when it happened wrote anything down about it happening. We only have decades and decades, and like several decades later, people writing down that other people believe that it happened, and then they believe it based on those other people believing in it. So we don't actually have any evidence for the resurrection. The best that you're going to find is Gary Habermas's minimal facts case, but Gary Habermas is a scam artist, as far as I'm concerned. Like, he's a liar.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I should look into it though. Was it their Roman accounts for it, or Romans mentioned it in some of their books?
No. So the closest that we have to any evidence of Jesus's life that was like contemporary is that there is in the in like the Jewish records, there's a mention of somebody being stoned to death. Like the Christus, or I don't remember exactly what the quote is, but there is something in like the what the fuck is the word? See, this isn't the problem when I try to talk about biblical history and stuff, is I don't know enough about this to remember all of the details.
Trust me, man. I don't know most of the stuff either, so I'm always like stuttering on live, trying to find the words.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, as long as we're being honest about our limitations, I think that that's the best way to approach these conversations. And if it comes down to one of the things that we don't know for sure being a huge sticking point in our ability to move forward with the conversation, then obviously that means that we both have to go away, learn a little bit more, and then maybe we could continue the conversation after we have some more information. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is that there is some evidence to think that Jesus existed and that he was executed, but I don't know of any contemporary evidence that would suggest that he was resurrected. You would think that if he actually was resurrected, that the record that we do have of that was potentially a reference to Jesus's execution, you would think that it would also say something about him resurrecting, but there's nothing there, right? It's not until at least 40, if not more like 60 or 70 years after he supposedly died, that people start writing down that they believe that he rose from the dead. So I don't see any reason why we should think that the resurrection actually happened. And like I said, the best case I think that I'm aware of for the resurrection is Gary Habermas's minimal facts case, but his whole argument is just fabrication.
I could have sworn that there was accounts of the Romans going through it. I could be wrong.
No, there's a claim that like Pontius Pilate wrote something about Jesus, but it's a lie. That didn't happen.
Who was what's his name? He was on the coin. Caesar, right?
Oh, are you talking about excuse me, are you talking about Constantine?
He was one of the emperor. I don't know if it was an emperor or general wrote something about someone preaching, and then they said his name, and allowed the crucifixion. I don't know if that was true. I don't know if that's to my knowledge.
No, that's fine. Like I said, even if we had evidence that he was crucified, that doesn't give us a reason to believe that he rose from the dead. Like, lots of people have been executed for capital crimes, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know any reason why we should think that he rose from the dead. I mean, I could tell you other stories of people supposedly rising from the dead, and I don't think that just having those stories gives us reason to believe that those people really did rise from the dead, and I'm just going to use the same standard of evidence for Jesus as I use for the rest of them.
Okay.
But here's another thing that I want to point out. Bart Ehrman, I don't know if you know of him. He's a biblical scholar who became an atheist because, well, the more you learn about the Bible, the harder it is to continue believing in any of it. So one of the things that he said in a recent conversation was that, or a video that I was watching where he was having a conversation, it was like on a podcast or whatever, not exactly a debate, but one of the things that he was talking about the resurrection is that while Jesus is alive, or was alive, his followers genuinely would have believed that he was the Messiah. Like, if the stories that we know about him or have about him were true, his followers believed that he was the Messiah. So then when he dies, that would prove to them that he wasn't the Messiah, but they've all dedicated their lives to the idea that he is the Messiah. So if anyone makes a story up about a resurrection, all those followers who've dedicated their lives to the thought that this guy is the Messiah, they're going to believe in the resurrection because that allows them to keep their beliefs going. And there've actually been studies done on cults, and it shows that, weirdly enough, for whatever reason, when a cult leader makes a prediction, it actually strengthens the cult. If a cult leader makes a prediction and the prediction doesn't come true, that makes the cult get stronger. And not only does it make the cult get stronger, it makes them stronger than the response that they have when their leader's predictions are true. So, like, if a cult leader makes a prediction and it comes true, the strength of the cult goes up a little bit. If a cult leader makes a prediction and it doesn't come true, the strength of the cult and their belief in it goes up more. Like,
is that because of sorry to cut you off.
No,
Is that because with the human mind, right? If they don't have anything, they can't understand it, and like the idea of, I guess you could say, if I'm taught something my whole entire life, right? Like, let's say I find out it wasn't true, my mind wouldn't want to accept that fact, so it's just gonna deny all of that. And if that makes sense, if you get where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the first stage of the 5 stages of grief, right? Is denial. And if you have the ability to deny the reality, and then you see other people attacking your cult and your cult leader because of their failed prediction, or the cult leader tells you that he's being attacked because of his failed prediction, that's just going to make you band together stronger. And, like, I don't want to say that I know exactly what all the psychology is behind it, but this is something that has been demonstrated or studied, and there is evidence to show that this is what happens. And so if Jesus had a cult-like following, which the stories about him suggest that he did, when he would have died, that would have made them all think that they had 2 options at that point. They could either believe everything that we've gave our lives up for was a lie and wasn't true, or Jesus was resurrected and he really is the Messiah and the end times are really upon us, like he said they were. And so if even one follower of Jesus had a grief hallucination, thinking that Jesus had visited him in a vision, and he went and told the rest of them, they're going to jump all over that as an excuse to not have to admit that they were wrong about Jesus being the Messiah. And then, of course, what are they going to do? They're going to go out and say, now, not only do we have this guy that we believe in who's the Messiah, he also is magic and he rose from the dead. And then they start, spreading that story and convincing other people to believe in it. The tradition grows. And then, you get a church out of it.
So I know you mentioned before that whatever proof you get, that's all you need. That's all you're looking for, is just proof of the existence of a God.
Well, I wouldn't even use the word proof. I think the word proof is too strong. I would just say evidence. I just want a reason to believe that it's more likely than not that God does exist.
See, this is the thing. I'm still, as I mentioned before, if we could admit that we're still learning and know when to back off instead of just still going even when we don't know. Like, I'm still learning. That's why I'm like I said, I couldn't come up here and really give you a solid debate. Before I wanted to bring up the crucifixion, now that I got your take on that, I'm gonna have to see. I could have sworn I've seen some things about the Romans mentioning it. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna look into that. And then there's a few other things that I have. I have it in my book. And that the guy you mentioned, he was a Christian and turned atheist.
Bart Ehrman.
Bart Ehrman. This book was in response to him, because I guess I could be wrong, but in the beginning, the author wanted to debate him, and he didn't want to debate, so he made the book in response of all of Bart Ehrman's claims, because I know he has a book of it too. So,
well, Bart Ehrman didn't used to do all that many debates, but now that he retired from teaching, he is doing more debates. So I've seen a couple go up in the last month or two, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are more going up as well. I've seen a few different like podcast appearances. That's what I was kind of summarizing some of the stuff I remember him saying from one of the podcasts, notes I took from one of his podcast appearances. And then also he's done some debates and stuff recently. And like I said, I would not be surprised if he's doing more.
Okay, then. Yeah, then I'm going to go try to find a few more things. I see you're live every once in a while, so I know I'm going to be here next time. Yeah, I'll look into some evidence with the Romans, and then see what else I could find, and see what your takes are on them.
Okay. Well, what I'll ask you also, because I think that you're taking this seriously, and I want you to take it seriously, is I'm going to ask you to wait about a week or two to come back, okay?
Yeah, no, I got to, because I don't want to come back and just have nothing to really defend. So just I got the book still. I'm barely in chapter 2, but I'll read it, get a bit more far into it, and when I feel a bit more comfortable, I'll also look into some evidence and try to give you a better argument in defense of Christianity.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to write some arguments down, write your notes down that support your position. Write that stuff down and bring it to me. Come full force, man. Don't hold any punches, okay?
Could you give me three of your most three things that I should be I guess 3 of your most used arguments that I could look into and try to answer them, if you could give me, so I could write them down.
Yeah, sure. So I think that the biggest one is probably going to be the Kalam, and if you want to look into the Kalam, then probably your number one guy you want to read or research about is going to be William Lane Craig. I think that is a really, really good one. Well, not a good one. I'm sorry. That's a terrible argument, but it's a very popular one. And a lot of theists think that it's a good argument. And like I said, I recommend looking into William Lane Craig for it, because in my opinion, he does the best job supporting it, because he actually understands the objections to it well enough to respond to them. I don't think that his responses to the objections work, but at least he's trying, unlike a lot of people who run the column. Fine-tuning is probably one of the better arguments for God, but the problem is that you have to make sure that you're not just looking at any fine-tuning argument. You want to really look at the ones that take that specifically go into like the physical constants, like the cosmological constant, that kind of thing, because the ones that try to focus on like more generic stuff, they fall apart really quickly. But the ones that are about like specific things in science have a lot more legs. And then for that, I think there was actually not that long ago, Miles Donahue and Alex Malpass did 2 debates like back to back. There was one debate where it was 2 theists supporting fine-tuning, and then 2 atheists arguing against fine-tuning. And then right after that, and one of the theists was Miles Donahue and one of the atheists was Alex Malpass. And then like right after that, like within a couple of days, another video was posted where it was just Miles and Alex, and they had a fantastic conversation about it. And one of the things that I love about both of them is that Alex Malpass has a PhD in philosophy and Miles Donahue is a PhD student in philosophy. So they take this shit very seriously and their arguments are extremely well thought out. And so, like, I think that they both do a really good job of supporting their side of the position or of the argument. Now, obviously, my position is Alex Malpass won both of those, but I could understand you watching it and coming away with the opposite conclusion because I do think that Miles does a really good job in those conversations. So yeah, I would say the cosmological, the fine tuning. Is there another one? Honestly, I think that those are probably the two best ones. And of those two, the fine-tuning is significantly better than the cosmological argument. So maybe that's the one that you would want to spend more time on. I think that they both fail for a lot of different reasons, but there's definitely a lot of ground for very fruitful conversations there.
All right, then. No, I screen recorded what you said because I didn't have time to write it down. But I'm going to look back, check a few of those things out. Like you said, I'll be back in I say end of June. Give me end of June.
Fair enough.
You probably won't remember me, but I'll bring it up.
I typically do remember the people I have good conversations with, and I take notes. And my notes about you are that we have good conversations. Yeah, definitely come back. And then, there was one other thing I was going to say. Now I lost it. I'm sorry. But yeah, definitely, research into those things. See what you think are the best points, the best arguments. And then yeah, come back and we I know what I was gonna say. In my bio here on TikTok, there's a link to my YouTube and I stream there simultaneously to here. So like this stream is on there. I know we talked last night. I had to take that one down because some asshole pulled his dick out. So I took down that YouTube stream, but the one from tonight is up. And so so long as nobody pulls their dicks out, then I will leave that up, and you would be able to go back and
pray, man. We don't know. It's TikTok.
I mean, it's only happened once so far, and I'm just going to continue hoping that it only ever happens once, because one was too many times.
But I'm sorry, I never catched your name. I don't know if it's Ogar.
Yeah, I mean, I just go by Ogar. That's what like all my friends in real life call me. The only people who don't call me Ogar are like my coworkers and my parents and siblings. Otherwise,
okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, everybody just calls me Ogar. That's been my name for like 20 years now.
All right. Well, I'll see you at the end of June. I have a bit more of a better argument and stance, but thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
Can't wait for it. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Stay safe.
Likewise. And he didn't even have to piss on the fire hydrant on his way out. That is the type of theist I want to talk to. I love those conversations.
Was that a good faith guest? How'd you get one of those?
I know. He actually came last night, too. He was my first guest last night. At least the first one I took notes on. And I told him, because he was good faith last night, too, and kind of admitted that he didn't really have anything. Without like making a big stink about it, just like I kind of explained why. I don't remember the exact argument, but I just explained why like I didn't think it worked, and he admitted like, yeah, this isn't working. I'll have to think about it, do some research, and come back. So I wanted to give him a chance today, and then yeah, I hope that he does come back at the end of June and we can have the conversation. So Obelisk, who now I actually know who you are, I think that you're probably right that I could. Holy shit, God is good. Like I don't know why you're supporting so much. I was kind of an asshole to you, but hey, I'm not, I appreciate it. Yeah, Obelisk, I need to figure out how to do that. If I can figure out how to edit that out, I will put last night's stream back up. I'm just not really a smart person, so yeah.
I grant that.
Yeah, I know you do, Lobes. I know you do. You mother. Oh my God. I still am not over you playing that fucking music.
I'm not over it. Oh my God, that was so good. I wish I didn't laugh as hard though. I would have been so good if I could have kept a straight face.
Oh my God. You motherfucker. Obelisk, I don't know what you're... Holy shit, what's happening right now?
God is good as paying the bills, bro.
I know. What the fuck, man?
They just want you to keep saying God is good over and over. I mean, I'll do that. Like, I'll sell out and say God is good for money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I Poop You Poop is really mad that the piano music is gone. Oh, hey, thanks for the hat. Underscore. Yeah, I've gotten Seth Rogen before. Actually, all the way back in high school, I used to, people told me that my hair and my face, I looked like Seth Rogen. And then more recently, people tell me that my voice sounds like Neil deGrasse Tyson, which I don't know. And so then
Somebody said that the other day, and I didn't hear it until they said it, and I forgot about it, and you just brought it back up, and like, yeah, it's true. You do kind of sound like him.
It's funny. I'm Neil deGrasse White Tyson. I'm like Neil deGrasse Tyson, but white and not nearly as smart or educated. Okay, so we have a few people in the guest queue. We'll see if we can have another good conversation. Obelisk, I don't know what you're asking. Wait, what about? I don't know. I think all I said was just that I'm not a smart person and I don't know how to edit that YouTube stream. Are you talking about like downloading it and then like editing that part out and then re-uploading it? Because that sounds like a lot of fucking work. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I got. That my laugh sounds like Seth Rogen. Yeah. Okay. So we'll see if we can have a good conversation here. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God. What did I say right after your name, Obelisk? Did I know who you are? Are you not who I think you are? Oh my God. Then somebody was fucking with me. I don't know.
How did you get started tonight? Did you start on time?
A little earlier than 8. Okay, Obelisk, I thought that you were slowly from the Discord because you asked me about Obelisk asked me about the Kalam thing and getting to the second stage. So I did that because you asked me about it. And then when I was talking to somebody about it on Discord today, they made it sound like that was them. So I thought that was you. So if you're not the same person, then fine. Okay, then you're not the same person and I'm just confused and stupid. Which, you know, I'm sure everybody's willing to grant that I'm both confused and stupid.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, so that's not you then, Obelisk. Fantastic. I'm just confused and or stupid. Time theory? I don't know. Eternalism? B theory of time? Oh, your Discord is the same name. Okay, then it's definitely not you, because it's a different person, and I was giving them shit for having a different name on YouTube than on Discord. Well, I'm just confused. Okay, well, let's move on from that, because I'm an idiot. Yeah, 3 pips. You know what premise I reject? I reject C. I reject premise C. Take that, atheist.
Got him.
God, fucking crushed. Okay, we'll bring up the next person who's been waiting for a while. Assuming they connect.
Is that the Seth Green?
Obviously. I mean, the only reasonable thing for Seth Green to be doing on a Monday evening is watching me on TikTok.
That's the third person that I've said, is that the person too on your live? And I've never said that. I don't think I've said that any other time ever. Got a lot of celebs coming up here.
Oh, hey, thanks, Brian, on the YouTube. I'm glad you found it on YouTube as well. Okay, so Seth didn't connect. I feel like the real Seth Green probably is an atheist, but who knows? All right, we'll see if Jay wants to have a conversation. Hi, Jay, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
I believe in Jesus Christ.
Cool. Are you able to do anything about the background noise?
Oh yeah, my bad.
Sounds like he's in a cafeteria.
Yeah, just got the TV on or something.
Can I ask you why you're atheist?
Because I'm a rational person. Did you say you're a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God? Maybe you can make me a theist again.
Okay. I just be seeing like the
I'm still going to
actions of
need you to do
people
something about
when.
that background noise. I'm sorry. I'm too autistic.
Really?
Yeah, it's really loud.
Okay.
All right, thank you. It's still there, but better. All right, yeah. So what's the best argument or evidence?
Okay, I just be seeing like the behaviors in people, and it's just really evil, you know, like the government. You've heard, right?
Well, wouldn't we?
Don't you think that's like really bad?
I don't know what that has to do with a God, though. Why should I believe in a God? Because some people are, do bad things.
Because they're really evil, yeah.
I don't know why that would make me believe in a God, though.
Because it's evil.
Okay, I understand that you're saying that it's evil. That's fine. Why would that make me believe in a God?
It makes me think there's no God.
Yeah, it seems more likely
There's
that
no God?
It seems more likely that would be the case if there's no God. It seems like if there is a God, especially if there was a good God, then there wouldn't be evil government.
If there was a God, there wouldn't be evil. Okay.
No, if there was a God, there probably if there was a good God, there wouldn't be evil governments.
Evil governments. I mean, he gave us, free will. So
that's fine. Why should we believe in a God?
You have the chance to kill.
Why should we believe in a God?
Or do anything.
Why should I believe in a God?
Because he gives you eternity. Jesus Christ gives you eternity.
I mean that if the God you believe in is real, then sure. But why should I think that God is real in the first place? And you turned up the background noise again.
Oh my bad, I stepped outside.
Jams, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't listen to music or whatever, but...
No, I'm not mad. Well...
It doesn't seem like you're really prepared for this conversation,
I'm just trying to
Jay.
save you.
Yeah, but the only way to save me is to convince me that God exists, and just telling me that you believe in God isn't a reason to believe in a God.
No, I'm trying to give you, I'm trying to wake you up a little bit, I mean, okay, I'm not going to act like an asshole to you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, it's only very insulting.
Because you're on your own,
Yeah, I am.
And your family isn't going to save you.
No, I agree.
Is Loeb your friend?
He's a friend of mine, sure. I mean, I hope I'm not being overly presumptuous by saying this. He's probably going to say we're not friends, but...
I don't know if we're at that level.
Is he a good friend?
At least buy me a drink first.
Is he a good friend?
We haven't even kissed yet, so I don't think we're really good friends, no.
No, why are you talking like that, though?
It's Pride Month. You can't kiss the homies during Pride Month? Come on.
No,
it's tis the season, man. There's a whole other spirit.
You don't think I've ever kissed a homie?
Pride is also something that everybody has.
I got a bandmate that used to give me kisses after we had a good set.
New people will come in this earth and behave the same.
Just call me Mark,
exactly the
same.
same.
I love you.
And they won't change. Okay?
Jay, I don't know what we're talking about at this point. Do you have any kind of argument or evidence? Or do you just want to listen to Lobes and I talk about kissing the homies?
All right. Have a good day, man.
All right, you too, man.
Okay, bye.
Russell, your argument is, if it's the same argument that I've heard you give before, it's terrible. It's a really, 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 really dumb argument.
What was it again? It had a contradiction in the beginning, I think, didn't it?
Oh, I don't remember. I just remember being like, oh, that's really stupid. I don't remember the premises, Russell. I don't really care.
Past the beginning.
Yeah, well, I can't take Russell seriously because I'm pretty sure the last time I let him up here, I asked a simple question, and his response was, "What's the argument I should answer your questions?" I mean, obviously, the dude is just a troll.
Yeah.
Like, if all you're gonna do is troll, then I don't know why I should try to have a serious conversation with you. Hey, Cookie Monster. Yeah, don't currently have anybody requesting.
Star Trek.
What'd you say?
I said, show us a card trick.
A card trick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Magic debunked. All of these guys.
Watch this.
Miracles,
Here, I'll show you a
magic.
card. Tell me where to stop, or I'll show you a trick.
Okay. Stop there.
Okay, you want this card, or one before, or one after?
I want that one.
This one here.
Yeah.
3 of diamonds. Boom.
How did you do that? It was not even facing the same way.
I know. All I could see was the back.
Wait, guys. Wait, no, I figured it. He's looking at the stream.
Nuh-uh. No way.
No, that's the trick.
No
That's
way.
the game of skepticism. That's the trick.
Oh.
I have to call it out where I calls it like I sees it. The robes. Robes is the victim.
That's probably the best magic trick I've ever done. No.
Magicians exposed live
I know.
on live.
No, I don't think, like, if I was gonna actually try to do magic on stream, I would. Am I standing? No, I am not standing. I'm sitting down.
That would be crazy.
If I, yes, I'm standing and I'm only like 4.5 feet tall. No, if I was going to try to do magic on stream, I would want like a better setup with like a different camera angle, so I could have like my close-up mat on the table and you could see that. And I used to actually, I don't know if anybody will be able to find it, but I actually had a YouTube channel a while ago where I was posting magic videos. I don't know if any of them are still up though.
Magically disappeared.
Yeah, magically disappeared. Correct.
It's a pretty good trick. All mine disappeared too.
So
Sometime.
I don't. Yeah, the 2 people that are in the guest box right now requesting are, one is a child, so obviously I'm not bringing them up, and then the other one is somebody who came up earlier and couldn't engage.
On your shirt looks like a dick.
You fucking asshole.
Oh, it's alien. Okay, cool.
It's a xenomorph, and it says LV426.
Xenomorph.
No, Russell is not requesting. I know Russell's talking a big game in the chat, like he's trying to come up, but he's not even requesting. So, like, that's his MO, though. Like, why would he actually want to have the conversation? He's much more interested in pretending like he wants to have a debate than actually debating.
You're just scared. I brutally eviscerated you last time, and you just don't want to get another spanking from Daddy.
Yeah, that sick argument. What's the argument that I should answer your questions? Wow. What a way to engage in such good faith. Okay, so
You have faith every day. You have faith that that chair is gonna hold your fat ass up.
oh my
Unless
god.
you are standing, you don't have faith.
Standing exposed.
All right. We'll give this one more chance.
Yo, you're awesome, dude.
What
You're
is
an awesome
why would I want
person.
to I'm going to be very quick to boot you.
What's up?
I'm going to be very quick to boot you. Why should I talk to
Why,
you?
bro? Come on, bro.
What is the argument or evidence that God exists?
You had mentioned something about the Kamala or the Kamal.
The Kalam cosmological argument?
Yeah.
The Obama argument, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't support that. Like, just because beginningless exists, all it's really saying is that
I don't really care. What's an
existence-
argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
Well, I was trying to give you one.
Okay, go ahead. I don't want you to talk about why the Kalam doesn't work. Just tell me an argument that does work.
Why wouldn't? Why? I just don't understand why wouldn't he exist?
Okay, so you don't have any argument or evidence?
I mean, bro, this what do you want? I don't understand. I can't prove God's real. Like, to you, I can't give you God. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, hey,
So
if
I
you
don't
can't
understand
provide
how
an
you-
argument or evidence, then obviously you're not, like, you don't have, there's no debate to be had, right? How could we have a debate if you agree that you don't have a position?
I'm just trying to get past this wall. I just want to I want to know the real you. That's all.
Please don't come back. Good times, right?
He just wants to know the real you, man.
I think he might have been trying to make a move.
I mean, we
This is-
were talking about kissing the homies, so I can't blame him.
Yep. I wish I
Oh.
came up with that "Call Me Marge" thing, but I don't remember where I heard it. I think it was a meme or something. It's such a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. I love the I love the one that's like the oh look, all the gay hashtags are rainbows this month. But this one isn't rainbow and it's kissing the homies goodnight. It's like, see, it's not gay.
Yeah, it's not gay, exactly.
Yeah, so currently don't have anyone requesting. If you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, feel free to come up. The Furious, 11 out of 10, watch it. I don't know anything about it, actually. I will have to go check it out. Oh my god, I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned this last night. I went and saw Backrooms. Not impressed. Not impressed.
Was that like the is that based on the like Backrooms posts I keep seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a movie about it?
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, because it seems like, I guess because it's supposed to, like, the whole thing is that, like, I think it's intriguing, is that shrouded in mystery, and it's supposed to make you uneasy. But if you have a whole movie dedicated to it, they're probably going to explore a lot of it. It becomes less scary. Is that what the problem was?
That was not the problem, no. No, the problem was that nothing happened. And Rat Soup is 100% correct. Obsession is much, much better. Obsession is the movie of the year so far as I'm concerned. I think that, like, Project Hail Mary was a fucking fantastic movie that came out earlier this year. Almost as good as the book, and that says a lot. And then I didn't think that anything would be able to top it, and then Obsession, like, when I first came out of Obsession, I was like, yeah, that was really good. Maybe second best movie of the year. And then I talked to my girlfriend about it, and as we were talking about it, and she kind of, like, explained to me some of the things she got out of it, it made me realize, like, oh shit, I think I missed a couple things. And the more I thought about it and the more we talked about it, the more I realized, like, yeah, this is even better than I realized it was. And yeah, I would say Obsession is a 10 out of 10. Fantastic movie. And Obelisk is saying that Furious is 11 out of 10. Everybody should go see it. So I will have to check that one out. I'm totally going to go see Masters of the Universe too when that comes out next weekend. Already got plans to go see it with the lady. Looking forward to it. Because I'm almost old enough to remember when that was on. Oh man, no guests. I don't know if I like do a reset here and try to like get a few another guest or two before I close up shop for the night, or maybe somebody will come up. Yeah, obviously not going to bring up the child who requested again for some reason I will never understand. Okay, so we do have somebody requesting if just hopefully they're 18 plus and actually have some argument or evidence for God. Isaiah, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
I'm a Christian, but I'm not really trying to debate. I was just seeing if you would be open to just having a conversation.
A conversation about what? The only thing I'm doing here is discussing whether or not there's rational justification to believe in a God.
I guess I was really just trying to get like your perspective on why, like, what was your reasons for, not being Christian?
Well, I'm not a Christian because Christianity is false. Okay. Christianity is a self-defeating worldview.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Because, I mean, do you want to hear why?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I'd love to hear your reasons.
Okay. So if Christianity is true, then a triomni God exists, right?
Triune God.
No, not triune. Triomni. All good, all powerful, all knowing.
It's not three gods, though.
I didn't say anything about three gods.
Okay. Well, it's a three persons that.
I'm not talking about that at all. You got to lock the fuck in, my guy. I said a triomni. That has
I've
the
never
three.
heard triomni. That's why it's kind of throwing me off.
Okay, well, that's insane. Clearly, you probably shouldn't have anything referencing apologetics in your name if you don't even know what triomni means.
I'm being pretty polite. I mean,
well, I'm just being honest with you. I'm sorry if you don't like honesty. So
I just haven't
tri-omni
heard to
means
that.
he
I
has
haven't
the
heard that.
traditional three omni properties, which, as I said, are all good, all knowing, and all powerful. So do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree that if Christianity is true, then there is an all good, all knowing, all powerful being that exists?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So my contention is that if there was an all good, all knowing, all powerful being that exists, then Christianity would be false, which means that if Christianity was true, it would entail that Christianity must be false. So Christianity is a self-defeating worldview. Because if there was an all good, all knowing, all powerful God, he would never instantiate an unjust system like original sin.
Yeah. Well, I don't hold to the fact. I hold to ancestral sin. But I'm not guilty because of Adam's sin.
Yeah, well, ancestral
But
sin would also be evil and unjust, and any good God, and all-knowing, all-good, all-powerful God would instantiate a system like that. So again, if that kind of God exists, then Christianity isn't true. But if Christianity was true, that kind of God would have to exist. So Christianity is self-defeating.
so the fact that I'm able to sin, it is the reason why God is a bad person.
Nope, I didn't say anything like that. And you're breaking up, so I don't know if we're going to be able to continue talking.
Am I still bringing up?
No, not anymore.
So the fact that I'm able to sin, because Adam allowed Eve to eat the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, is the reason why God's bad.
No, I said that if there was an all good, all knowing, all loving God, he would never have created that system.
But do you okay? Have you heard like why, like the why for that?
Yeah, I've heard lots of theodicies and lots of excuses for that kind of stuff, but none of it makes any sense. And like I said, if there was an all good, all knowing, all powerful God, he would not create an unjust system. But if Christianity is true, then there is an unjust system. A really easy way to see how unjust Christianity is, let's say that there's a person who has only ever committed one minor sin in their entire life. They lied about something minor one time. They bore false witness once. That's the only sin they ever committed. But when they heard about Christianity, it sounded ridiculous, so they don't believe in it. Well, that person dies and goes to hell and is tortured for eternity according to Jesus. Now, on the other hand, you could have a person like Jeffrey Dahmer who spends his life being extremely evil, torturing and murdering people and eating people's body parts and all kinds of horrible, horrific things that I don't even want to go into because of how terrible they are. But because he begged for forgiveness at the end of his life before he died, now, even though he did all those evil things, he gets to live in paradise for the rest of eternity according to the Christian religion. So if a person who's only ever done one minor bad thing gets to, is forced to endure torture for the rest of eternity, and a person who is an evil person who has done all kinds of horrible things gets paradise for eternity, then obviously the system that would result in that kind of outcome could not have been created by an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God. But if Christianity is true, that would be the case. Therefore, again, Christianity is self-defeating.
Okay. Yeah. So I get your reasoning. My objection would be that if someone didn't have good reason to believe, God is not going to hold that against them.
That's not what the Bible says.
If someone presented Christianity to someone and they didn't give just reason for believing, then God didn't fully reveal himself to them.
That's not what God says.
Promise.
If the Bible is true, then that's not the system that God set up. So what you're having to do is you're having to adjust the system that your religion claims is in place in order to make it less ridiculous and less evil. So if you have to,
you're looking at things from a Protestant. You're coming at things from a Protestant.
No, I'm not
looking at Christianity.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying what the Bible says.
You're saying believing, because believing is deeper than just assent or saying that.
That is not at all a response to anything that I said.
So it is a response to the thing of the Epstein thing. So
I didn't say anything about Epstein. What the fuck are you talking about?
I thought you did.
No, I didn't say anything about Epstein.
I thought okay, my bad. Well, you said somebody that did a whole bunch of bad things.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer, got you. I messed it up. If Jeffrey Dahmer were to repent of his ways, if he were to fully turn away from all the bad things that he did. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't mean he shouldn't be in jail. I'm saying that if he's in jail and he truly turns and he truly heals from the things of his past and he believes in Christ and he repents.
Yeah,
of
this
his
is totally
ways,
irrelevant.
then-
What I'm saying is that the punishments don't fit the crime. This is an unjust system. You have a system where a person can commit horrible crimes and their outcome is eternity in paradise, and you can have a person who doesn't commit any horrible crimes and their outcome is eternity of torture. This obviously is an unjust
Well, I
system,
wouldn't-
and a good, all-knowing, all-powerful,
No.
all-good God would not create an unjust system. So far, Zaya, you haven't
wouldn't say
responded.
that.
So
Hold
far,
on.
so far, you haven't responded to
No.
anything that I've said. So if their next response isn't actually a direct response to something that I've said, I'm just going to move on.
I wouldn't say that saying that for example, you're saying that it's an unjust system, yada yada yada, but we don't know what God is gonna choose for somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say that somebody's going to hell or going to paradise.
Yeah, so now your whole
for
position
sure.
is that we shouldn't believe what the Bible says. And if your position is that we shouldn't believe what the Bible says, then I have no reason to believe in Christianity in the first place. So again, like, this just isn't actually addressing the concern here.
Well, you're saying what the Bible says, yada yada, but I don't think actually.
Okay, well, now you're breaking
I
up
don't think you're
again.
interpreting
And
correctly.
here's the problem. I'm not interpreting it. I'm just telling you what it literally says. If you have to go in there and put your rose-colored glasses on and pretend it says something different than what it actually says, then that's a you problem, not a me problem. I mean, I appreciate that you're at least being
Have you
kind,
read the whole Bible?
but you are being extremely rude by not actually engaging in what I'm talking about, and I don't have the patience for it anymore. I've got a different idiot to cook, so you have a good one.
The whole, have you?
Man, I wish I would have joined there. I would have destroyed you on all that question
Uh-huh.
bag you're done.
Okay, what's the
Question bag over question bag after question bag, and it's crazy.
I know. Maybe someday I'll get on your level of inability to track. So, what's the
What's
syllogism
the
that you're
argument that
running?
God is unjust?
What's
the
the
argument God
syllogism
is
that you're
unjust?
running? So you don't want to give
Yeah,
your
the
argument?
syllogism. Yeah, I'll give you my argument.
You're Christian, right?
All right. Yes, I'm Christian.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Knowledge requires justification. If the justification provided falls victim of a Gruber's trilemma, the knowledge claim that you presuppose becomes invalid.
Hold on.
Therefore, any worldview
Hold
doesn't
on.
escape
Hold
Gruber's
on.
trilemma.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. You need to calm the fuck down. If the justification fails to Agrippa's trilemma, then what?
Yeah, if the justification falls victim of Gruber's trilemma, then the knowledge claim fails.
Okay.
Conclusion: any worldview that doesn't escape Agrippa's trilemma cannot make knowledge claims.
That doesn't escape Agrippa's trilemma. What was the last part?
It can't make knowledge claims.
Can't justify knowledge claims?
Oh, they can't make claims because they're not justified. But yeah, if you want to like,
Well, you can
Get
make
more
anybody
nuance.
can make a claim. There's there's a difference between making a claim and justifying a claim, right?
well, yeah, that's
Like, not that
where
I
it's
actually really want to make your argument better for you, but I mean, I just can't help fixing
Well,
an
it's
argument
just
this fucking
implied.
stupid.
It's implied, right? So obviously you won't be able to escape.
Okay, so
the
what's the
argument,
inference
but
rule here?
It's the modus ponens. Go ahead. What's your rebuttal to this?
This
Go
is
ahead.
modus ponens?
Yeah.
Okay, what's P?
Are you gonna engage with the argument?
What's P?
Hold on. Is this you running?
No, I'm trying to get clear on the
what
inference.
premise-
What's P? If
what premise
if
are
it's
you-
modus
what
ponens,
premise are you rejecting?
I'm rejecting the inference rule, and you're telling me that the inference rule is modus ponens, so I want to
Hold on.
confirm that. If
No,
it's
no,
modus
hold on.
ponens, then the inference would be if P then Q, P therefore Q. So what's P?
But hold on.
What's P?
Are you rejecting any of the premises?
No, I'm not engaging with that yet because I need to clarify the premises and the inference rule first. Because if the
but
argument
hold
isn't
on.
valid,
The inference
if
rule-
the inference rule isn't valid, then there is no reason for me to reject a premise. I can just reject the argument wholesale. So what is P in this argument? If it's modus ponens, what's P?
No, that's not what the way it works. You actually have to engage with the actual argument.
No.
If I give you the inference rule, you actually have to like engage with the argument.
Yeah, I'm trying to engage with the argument, and the way that I'm trying to engage with the argument, and the way I'm trying to engage with the argument is verifying the inference rule. So what's P?
Do you think
This is the last? Okay, here's the thing, Here's the thing, Russell. I'm going to ask you one more time. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more time to explain the inference rule to me. If you don't explain the inference rule, if your response is anything other than explaining the inference rule, I'm taking it as a concession that you know that I'm right and God doesn't exist. So what's P?
I just showed how your worldview.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for the concession, Russell. I appreciate it.
You're running. This is the third time.
Yeah, and there we go. We got another concession from Russell.
That dude is delusional. I wish, man. I mean, it's funny and everything, but I wish that he wasn't so delusional that he could not see.
Yeah.
I want him to be able to know about what just happened here. But you know, what can you do?
Yeah, he is too delusional to even understand how badly that just went for him. The fact that he can't even like he wants to pretend that this argument is modus ponens. Like, how the fuck is this modus ponens? Here, I'll throw it up on the screen. Knowledge requires justification. If justification, well, it was supposed to be falls victim to Agrippa's trilemma, then the knowledge claim fails. So, oh, what am I doing? Oh, shit. I'm pressing the wrong button on my keyboard, and my computer's like, what the fuck are you doing? So if it's, the way modus ponens works is if P, then Q, P, conclusion Q, right? That, or we could say, no, I'm going to be anal and change it like that. So this would be modus ponens, if P, then Q, right? So if we were trying to do this, we would probably try to say that he's got it flipped. So really what he's trying to do is P, like if we're being as charitable as possible, he's trying to do P, if P, then Q, and then conclusion Q. But I have no idea, like, so P would have to be justification falls victim to Agrippa's trilemma. And then Q would be the knowledge claim fails. And yeah, like, I mean, there is no, like, this this premise would have to do something with knowledge not being able to be justified, and so like he just like pulls that shit out of his ass in the conclusion, and it's not in the premises. So like the premises don't lead to the conclusion, so it's not a valid argument. Yeah, he needs to find a better script. He needs to find an actual valid argument to run.
What is Agrippa's trilemma?
So Agrippa's trilemma is saying that there are only three options to how to justify knowledge, and it's either or like the ultimate justification, I guess, is what it's talking about, right? So the options are going to be either there's an infinite regress of justificatory premises, right? So like I believe X, and X is true because of Y, and Y is true because of Z, and Z is true because of A, and then it would have to just go on forever. That's one option. The second option would be that it terminates in some kind of dogmatic understanding, right? So that would be just like, you know, you just like believe that like your justification bottoms out in something, but you don't actually justify it. And then the other option is that it would be circular justification. So you would say like, you know, A is true because of B, B is true because of C, C is true because of D, and D is true because of A, right? And so that like that would be, so the claim of Agrippa's trilemma is that all knowledge bottoms out in one of those three problems, that it's either an infinite regress, it's circular, or you have to accept something dogmatically.
Like my knowledge is grounded in God. That would be like the second one.
Yeah, well, it would be dogmatism. Hey, Philo Dragon.
Hey, brothers. How's it going?
It's going okay. How are you doing?
Good. Just going for my walk.
Fair enough.
But, I'll jump off, but I just want to say, number one, appreciate you guys. Freaking, you guys are awesome. And number
Appreciate
two,
the shit out of you, man.
yeah, you too. What I want to say really quick about this is, imagine for a moment, because I've been thinking about this for a while, right? This argument that he gave, because he tried to run it with Ian and stuff.
Yeah.
People, but imagine for a moment that you did put together a valid syllogism. Right? Well, it seems to me you'd just be stuck on premise one, because what is the argument for saying that knowledge requires some sort of justification? Let's set aside the question of what knowledge is, because I think you get hung up right there. If we were to challenge what his account of knowledge is, he'd have a real hard time. But even to set that aside, let's just say, hey, you're saying knowledge requires justification, so how can you demonstrate this? Because it seems to me empirically you could give counterexamples. You could say that there are small children that can't necessarily justify their knowledge about things because they're small kids, but yet they still have knowledge. So I could just reject premise one and he's done.
Yeah, I think that if I remember correctly, I think that in his debate with Ian asked what his definition of knowledge was, and I believe Russell said that his definition was justified true belief, which obviously under that definition it would be the case that knowledge requires justification, but that's assuming that JTB is a legitimate definition for knowledge. And ever since Gettier destroyed that definition, like, nobody in philosophy takes that as a serious definition of knowledge. You know, there are lots of accounts in philosophy of what knowledge could be. Not that I don't think that you guys have ever heard about this before, but just for anybody that maybe doesn't know, there are lots of accounts for like how to like ultimately justify knowledge in philosophy. And there's like lots of, or like how to define it and then how to justify it, how to get around Agrippa's trilemma, all those kinds of things. Like that's a huge project in philosophy. But I just don't think that like, I just don't think that there's any way that we can say like, definitely this is what knowledge is, because that's not a settled question. And I also don't think that we can say like, that I don't think that you can say that like any position like Christianity gets out of Agrippa's trilemma. So like the problem is, like all he's going to do is just fall victim to one of the horns of the trilemma, because he's going to say that my beliefs are justified by God, which just means that he's falling to that dogmatic position. And so like the Christian worldview is absolutely, as he wants to put it, falls victim to Agrippa's trilemma.
What is the what was the argument that dismantled the justified true belief definition?
So there's a bunch of things called Gettier cases where like I think the original one, and this is honestly like the most annoying one ever, but this is one that is really well known, is the whole like if you had a friend named Jones and you know for sure that Jones owns a Ford car, like a vehicle that's a Ford, and then your friend Brown, you think your friend Brown is at home, and then you form a conjunction in your mind of Jones owns a Ford or Brown is in Barcelona. And now that conjunction only needs one of the conjuncts to be true in order for the whole thing to be to evaluate as true. And so because you think that Jones owns a Ford or Brown is in Barcelona, you think that that is true because you think Jones owns a Ford, and you have justification to think that Jones owns a Ford, and you have justification for it. You as far as you know it's true, and you believe it to be true. So that qualifies for justified true belief. And then what you would have to do then is, if it turned out that without your knowledge, Jones sold his Ford and now owns a Chevy, but by coincidence, your friend Brown actually is in Barcelona right now without you knowing it, it turns out that that conjunction actually is true. And even though you had justification for the conjunction, the justification actually doesn't justify the thing that made it true. And so it is technically justified true belief, but we wouldn't actually want to call that knowledge because the thing that was justified wasn't actually the conjunct that was true. So it's just like there's a bunch of those. Like, for example, let's say that you're like driving through the country, and unbeknownst to you, you're in an area called Phony Barn Country, and there's a whole bunch of like wooden facades up that look like the front of a barn. So as you're driving down the road, it looks like there are barns dotted all over the place, right? And then you don't know it. You don't know that most of them are fake and only one of them is true. But let's say while driving through, you look at one of the apparent barns and think, oh, there's a barn right there. And it just so happens that is the real barn. Well, it is actually true that there's a barn there. And it seems like you have justification because it looks like there's a bunch of barns around. But like, you don't actually have justification because they weren't actually real barns. And so like, it seems like, well, what I should say is, you have justification because there are reasons for you to believe that what you're looking at is a barn, and you believe that it's a barn, and it happens to be true that it's a barn, but we don't want to actually say that that was knowledge because there were like, you know, one way to say it is there's like undercutting defeaters that should make you doubt the knowledge claim. Or as Philo Dragon pointed out in the comments, like if you're looking at a clock and it says 3 p.m. on it, and so you form the belief that it's 3 p.m., but actually that clock is broken, and you're only right about it being 3 p.m. by luck because it just happened to be 3 p.m. when you looked at the broken clock. We also wouldn't want to call that knowledge because even though you have justification of looking at the clock, it's true that it's 3 p.m. and you believe that it's 3 p.m. We don't want to actually say you know that it's 3 p.m. because the thing that you based your justification on wasn't sufficient, right? So there's like a bunch of these Gettier cases that say that that isn't an adequate, sufficient definition of what knowledge is.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say too is that there are a lot of criticisms, even in the literature where folks have tried to rescue knowledge as being JTB. They might say knowledge is JTB minus Gettier cases or something, and there's still a lot of attacks on it. Like, so you may have seen this, right? But one strategy that's being taken a lot right now, you have people like Lance Bush, you have Jack Engstrike, you have Venus, a lot of people in the SAP and elsewhere in the literature who are just saying, I just reject GTP altogether. It's not a sufficient account of knowledge by my lights, and I'm just going to take a pragmatist approach to knowledge and epistemology altogether. So in which case, then you just, once again, he just gets hung up and stop at premise one. You can't get past premise one because he's going to have to wade through all the literature to say, oh, I've knocked down the pragmatist epistemology, which doesn't seem that he'd be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that like I actually have like a really unconventional I have a really unconventional definition of knowledge that I hold to, but I don't think it's really important.
I think if you're taking a pragmatist view, it is basically still JTB from your perspective, and you can only really just correct it in hindsight. I think that's all that we can really do. I don't know what your view is. Gary said it's unconventional.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't know. I think that like even though most people, especially people who take this stuff seriously, understand that knowledge is a subset of belief, it still seems to me like people want to make it more than that, like more than a belief. And I just don't think that it's anything other than just like a really confident belief. Like I think that an easy way to like define knowledge, like at least an intuitive way to define knowledge, and I'm not going to say this is like rigorous or anything, but I think an intuitive way to define knowledge is to say that a knowledge claim or something that we would call knowledge is just any belief that someone holds so strongly that finding out the belief is wrong would require a massive adjustment in their worldview. Right? Like, I just think, because I take this, like, I'm not a big fan of continental philosophy, but I do take a little bit of a Wittgensteinian approach to word definitions. Because, like, there's the typical analytic approach to word definitions is to say every concept is an amalgamation of other concepts. But I don't think that that's really right. I would want to say that the only way that we really know what a concept is by seeing other people use that concept, what they apply it to and what they don't apply it to, and then trying to apply it similarly ourselves, and then getting corrected when we apply it wrong, or other people, clarifying for us, that kind of thing. So that, as we're growing up as kids and learning the language and learning what words mean, we just see how the word is used. And so what I would say is that I think that we should be defining knowledge by the way that it's actually used, and the way that it is actually used is to basically say, like, I just think about all the people who say that they know things. Like, think about how many theists would say that they know God exists. They know God exists. Well, if it's possible to say I know God exists, and I'm quite confident that it's not true that God exists, then clearly truth can't be a prerequisite for knowledge. If people can say that I know that God exists, but they have no justification for that position, obviously justification can't be a prerequisite for knowledge. And if people say I know that God exists, but my knowledge isn't a belief, it's something stronger, it's something different than a belief, then obviously the way people typically use knowledge is to use it as something other than a belief. So like, I just don't think anything from JTB really maps onto the way that people actually use the word. And I would just say that, like, even though people do deny that it's a type of belief, I do think that it's a belief. And I just think that it's like just a belief that people hold so strongly that, like I said, if it was proven to be wrong, or they found out that it was wrong, it would shake up, like, at least like a major part of their worldview. So that's typically what I think people mean when they say knowledge. Now, obviously, like in the literature, it's not used that way, but I just think that, like, typically, yeah, Russell, we're talking about JTB because we're talking about JTB. I said I thought that you gave JTB in the debate against Ian. If you didn't, fine. I wasn't trying to straw man you. I never said that you definitely gave that position. I just said I thought that was the position, and then we talked about JTB. Like, I'm sorry that you're so fucking butthurt that we're talking about a philosophical concept that you don't understand. I know that that's intimidating to you, but I don't know how to help you. I'm not saying I get my own definitions. I'm saying that the definition of knowledge is extremely contentious in philosophy. And so because of that, I just think that, like, we don't really know. Nobody really knows. If somebody comes out with, like, a definitive, this definitely, we figured it out, this is definitely what knowledge is, then Obelisk, he uses JTB. Yeah, he's in the chat right now, Obelisk, saying that he doesn't use JTB. But whatever. But yeah, if there's like a paper that comes out and someone says, we've analytically discovered exactly the correct account of what knowledge is, I will change my position to that, right? Like, if it's shown definitively that there's a different definition that I should be using, I'll gladly change to it. But until such time as there is, like, a good definition that would actually give us reason to think that, like, we should all change to saying that's the correct definition, I don't see any reason why we can't all have our own, like, that we can't have our own, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Idiosyncratic definitions, as long as we're honest about that. Like, if I'm in a conversation, if I'm in a debate with somebody and knowledge is an important part of the conversation, I'd be happy to, like, just accept their definition for the sake of the conversation. Or if they want to know my definition, I would give it, and then we could actually have a conversation about whether or not that's the definition they want to use, or we both want to use as, part of the conversation. So, yeah. Did he really just say the Bible?
What you just dropped on me is, like, really frustrating, because now I don't know what I know, right? JTB seemed so right until this Gettier case bullshit happened, and now I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I would recommend looking into Gettier cases. It's really frustrating because it does just completely blow up JTB. Now, I think that, honestly, like, if people are having a philosophical debate and they want to use JTB, and everybody is aware that, like, yes, their Gettier cases are a thing, JTB probably isn't, like, an exhaustive account of what knowledge is, however, that's just the definition that we're going to use for this debate, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Like, I think that that's fine. The same way that I would be happy to use somebody else's definition of knowledge in a good faith debate if it will move the conversation along, and I don't think it's, like, germane to my contention with their point or whatever, which typically it wouldn't be.
Yeah, it seems like JTB is, it's almost like looking at physics through a Newtonian lens. It's, like, almost right,
Yeah, as soon as you zoom in.
Like, the common one where it's, like, minus Gettier cases, that's like a, obviously the Gettier case does make it blow up. And you would never really know when you're encountering one.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. Well, and so I will say that you could potentially be a fallibilist about knowledge, just saying that, like, something still counts as knowledge even if you're wrong about it. And then you could say that, like, you know, the appearance of a justified true belief is enough to call it knowledge. And then if you're wrong, so be it, kind of thing, right? Because you could just be a fallibilist and say that, like, JTB is a good enough account, but sometimes you'll be wrong, and that's okay. And I am a fallibilist about knowledge, obviously, because the definition that I gave, that I use in my head at least, is just essentially a really strong belief. And obviously, beliefs can be wrong.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be a fallibilist when you're talking about the philosophy of knowledge and epistemology. If you're going to do it, right, I think you're going to be honest about it. I don't know how you could arrive at absolutes.
Yeah, I think, well, knowledge is just one of those things, like, it's such a, like, frustrating thing that such a, like, common, seemingly simple concept is so fucking hard to define accurately. Like, yeah, it's really frustrating. However, it is now, like, 20 minutes after when I typically end my live, and I started my live early tonight, so I've been going for over 2.5 hours now. I typically try to only do 2, so I am going to go ahead and call it for the evening. I want to say thank you to everybody for hanging out, all the support. I got an insane amount of support tonight. I think that tonight is, like, the most support I've ever gotten in a single stream, so I sincerely appreciate it.
Badass.
Ungettier JTB. I mean, yeah, you can do that, Dwight. Like, I guess. Okay, so yeah, thank you everybody for the support, for the comments, the interactions. 58,000 likes, which is fucking insane to me. Thank you to the people that I was able to have good conversations with. Unfortunately, not all of them, and we didn't end on a good one, but it did happen. Well, hey, thanks, Brian. I'm glad that you appreciate the rambles of this moron. But yeah, the last thing that I want to say, as I say at the end of all of my lives, remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed, okay? Please make sure that you take every opportunity you have to let your family